Good morning, everybody. Start with the indexes. We're going to see SPY is closer to just going right up into the highs. Qs, you're going to actually see is giving back a little bit of its gains due to the semis opening lower overnight. Dow Jones is opening a little higher, and IWM is opening relatively flat. If you take a look at those semis, they had gap up sell nearly with full time frame continuity down yesterday. Now they're going to be 2-2 down. So you'll see stuff that had full time frame continuity down, like Marvell, closer to that rev strat to the downside below 241.10. It's actually going to open as that. So we're going to have magnitudes on this about 6 points lower if the day is red today. If we go to MU, we had the gap up sell with full time frame continuity yesterday, and you're going to see it's also gapping lower today, opening about 20 points lower, but it has further magnitudes down in here if they actually stay down. We have to be aware these are inside months at this point, so they may close inside this month, which would mean if they were to stay inside, we get more reversals up, more reversals down. So it could turn a gap down by if they're going to try and keep all these guys firm. But since we have full time frame continuity, that's something we'd want to know about if we're below those daily opens. The scrolling ticker tracker, isn't that fun? If we go to, let me see, QCOM. So you're going to see QCOM opening right at its daily trigger. So if it triggers down, it wouldn't be full time frame continuity, but it could cause full time frame continuity into these guys. So if you're looking there, QCOM, Marvell, MU, some of the major ones we'd like to be watching. And then there's also Intraday NVIDIA, which is opening right smack dab in the middle. So maybe, maybe not. We'll see if that breaks. But let me make sure we have our focus list typed up. And as far as how we're going to play that, you don't have to be the first guy in at the open. We're going to tell you if they break at the open, which they will. We'll tell you if they confirm their direction, the second 5 or the second 15, the second 30s of the day. But what we're looking for is ideally some type of 2 up. It could be a 5 minute, it could be a 1 minute, followed by a 2 down to get in there so we can actually manage risk. Circle news. All right, cool. We'll take a look at that in a sec. Yeah, that's something we could talk about today too. But all right, give me 1 second. Pulling all up. Names are stronger. So Visa and MasterCard. You'll see that the gap down buys yesterday, very slight, and then today 2-2 reversal above 348.50. So we got all day in Visa to come back through these guys, and that will be with MasterCard as well. All day to try and come back through these guys. And it's on a Friday, so what would we be creating? We'd be creating momentum hammer on the week, right? It's still a 2-up week. So what is this reversal on the day? That is a reversal to create a higher low right here to last week's lows. So it's still 2 up, still making higher lows. Same with the month, still 2 up. Still has a signal in force. So this would have the monthly and daily signals today in MasterCard. We love the look of those. And you got nice big broadening formation. So can't guarantee that we're going to see it all the way up here, 344, 345 on a Friday. But if they have time from continuity, that's where they're trying to go, back up there. Morning to those of you guys tuning in on YouTube. For those that don't know, we're live 5 days a week, and this is the one day that we tend to be live on YouTube. On the downside, we do have a few other names like Irene, or Irene, if you want to call them that, coming back through these guys potentially. So there is more than just the semis, which are weaker. And what that would be is your data center guys potentially. And IRAN is kind of like your data center slash quantum. It seems to be what it moves with. So if you look at QUBT, maybe, right, it's opening inside day. QBTS, right, it's opening inside day. So it's really IRAN specifically there. And other names closer to reversing back up, we've got Google, which is opening inside day. IBM should be full time from continuity to reversal. You can see they're really buying that one. Not bad. T-Mobile, which is more of your boring names. And we do have a few others, so it might feel a little overwhelming, but we got a good chunk from last night's vid that we're setting up. Let's see. Favorite lotto? Normally on the lotto days, what you want to go after is things that are a little bit higher price and see what those options are opening at. It's like MasterCard. If we know MasterCard's trying to go potentially, 343 today, it's like, what are the 532 and a half called like trading at? Or what are like the 530s trading at? Because if those aren't trading over a couple bucks, you would be able to get those and lotto those. Ideally, you wouldn't even trade the first hour of the day though, because you gain evidence as the day goes on. Lottos are best done either right at the open or, paradoxically, as the day goes on, once the theta starts kicking in a little more, and you also get to see who's moving. All right. I'm going to load them in so we don't waste too much time here. Actually, I'm not going to be able to do it there. I have to do it here. So these are some of the other setups. We have Rare, which is full time frame continuity with a rev strat, something that we look for. MIAX, probably better for shares traders. I haven't looked at those options. But it has the rev strat with full time frame continuity, as well as AGIO, which is in the biotechs, would be rev strat with full time frame continuity above this stuff. And then T2 reversals, full time for continuity. We'll have Myrna with Visa and MasterCard, which are some of the ones I picked out last night. So personally, I really like the Willica MasterCard, but we'll see what those options look like and how they open up right at the open. Let's see, duplicate that. So you can see we got bearish setups, IREN, COHR, and then the semis that we've already discussed a bit. And then we'll have the bullish setups, and we'll be monitoring both of those to come the morning breaks here. I've got a few minutes, so I'm gonna have to step away. But from here, and quickly look at those futures. So if you look at the US 500 futures, you'll see that broadening formation 3 goes up, then goes down, then goes up. So once it takes this out, we're not too sure because it's a broadening formation, but you have these pivots above which you could trigger. That'd give you a nice ripper if we can take all those guys out today. So we'll see, but it will full time frame continuity if it's going up. So we prefer the upside. I just can't guarantee it. We're at the top of the broadening formation here on the daily. Compare that to the US 100, which is inside day. You can actually see this was full time frame continuity down. So, if things are going down, semis slash Qs slash kind of like technology would be the ones to go after. If things are going up, then we'd want to go after the SI, Visa, MasterCard, like healthcare, that type of stuff, financials, etc. So give me a few minutes. I'll be right back for the open, and we'll go from there. All right, just under a minute here till market open. Right off the rip, what you're going to see is semis breaking down, then you'll see MasterCard Visa breaking up. So right away, Visa, MasterCard to the upside with like MIAX gapping up. You'll see SPY opening 2-up day as well, so they're still buying some SPY to start off the morning. Iran goes 2-2-day down, pivot machine gun down. And then MU and Marvell and semis are trying to kick into full time for continuity down. I like the look at Iran on the downside. It has full time from continuity. It's below yesterday's lows. For now, Qs is gap down buys. So you're going to have the 221er right here, Qs, back to the upside, gap down buyer to start off the morning there. MasterCard and Visa, they're gap up in the red a little bit. So for now, they're gap up and sell there. Semis are gap down. They're slightly buy to start the morning with SMH, Marvell, COHR, relatively firm. For those that are new around here, we gain evidence as the day goes on, so you don't have to be the first one into anything. You can see on semis. So for example, if you wanted to try and be short on the semis this morning, if that was actually going to come back, which we still have a lot of distance to actually make that happen, you'd see this 2-up first, and then we'd try and hit it below that as a 2-2 reversal, because that would allow us to manage risk, unlike just trying to buy a breakout on a gap, right? It's like that's much more tricky to do. So right now, it's a little bit tricky to see exactly what they're trying to do. It looks like they're buying a little bit of the gap down on the Qs. They're selling a little bit of the gap up MasterCard Visa. That's kind of it. There's not a lot of long red and green bars to start off the morning right away, besides healthcare's, which is now 2-down day momentum. So XLV is momentum shooter back through a range. That'll be weaker than the rest of the market. You see SPY is still at the highs. Iran is trying to go momentum 312 down oneers with full time frame continuity down. Technically, it's mother bar in here, but you got this inside bar inside of the first 1 minute of the day. You see so far MasterCard Visa, 223 minute down, trying to go outside day MasterCard. Same with Visa, 223 minute down. Meta, Microsoft, they're a little bit firmer today. Apple, it's closer to a slight gap down buy to go outside 60 minutes to the upside this morning. So it's a little bit more Meg 7 this morning that I can pick up on. See, healthcares are still at the lows, so you got a big outside fiver in healthcares this morning, showing buyer and seller aggression. Gives you broadening formation. MasterCard, after going 2 down, comes back in, so potentially sets up a 222 if they're going to go back in the direction of that daily. That'd be on a 3-minute basis. SPY is still at the morning highs, still firm with full time frame continuity up. All known groups are buying SPY. A lot of that seems to be NVIDIA, which is taking out yesterday's highs as inside day to the upside. And you see that the slight gap down by this morning. So it completes a little broadening formation intraday like this. MasterCard does go 2-3-minute back up, so triangle back up. Marvell, momentum shooter fiber down with full time from continuity down while the market is firm. So a little bit of selling in the semis there. Go to SMH. They're a little closer to getting below that daily open, which would cause full time frame continuity down. QCOM is also closer to taking out those morning lows as well. So a little bit of selling in semis, but SPY does not seem to care. Qs goes 225ers up. Tech goes 225ers up. So Tech is leading ahead of semis just a little bit. See what we got in here this morning. MasterCard will be setting up inside fiver to try and get the day going. Marvell, Puker to the lows with full time frame continuity down. All known groups of seller. Semis working on that. QCOM working on that with Marvell as well. Then Iron is setting up the 3-1-5er into full time frame continuity as well. So you see a little bit of selling starting to kick off into those semis / tech. But we're going to have to see if that confirms or it negates. It's still kind of a difficult day to see exactly what they're doing or pick up on any theme. Looks like I might have a broken stream this morning. Like you can see, IWM is actually taking out the morning lows this morning. Right here, 2 going 3-day in the small cap futures. So that's a potential 35-point outside day there. Marvell's taking out the lows. Semis is taking out the lows. QCOM's taking out the lows. So definitely some issues. Right there, Iren still bringing them down. Marvell, Puker with momentum shooter fiver. We'll see semis takes out the morning low now as well. Spy shooter fivers after top of the broadening formation. So that changes what's going on a little bit. It's still very early in the day, but you can see that shooter fiver is going to last 5 minutes. It's going to try and take the daily morning low out. MasterCard goes inside fiver up. Visa closer to fivers up as well. So you could see the rotation kicking into financials with the inside fiver financials. So MasterCard definitely looks nice with that. Iren, there's 312 fiber down into full time from continuity. That should just puke if that's true. Marvell, they're still selling. Semis, they're still selling, confirming the fibers 2 down, confirming the daily reversal. Utilities, staples are going to the highs with Coca-Cola. 2 reversal day today, inside fibers up. So we can see some rotation there, right? Into staples a little bit, and then out of semis / tech stuff. It's a little bit, right? Can't confirm that all day or anything. We also see healthcares, 322 fiber, so they firm up a little healthcares, which is more defensive posturing as well. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was so dumb. My Iren filled on the wrong side of the options chain. Goodness. But you can see Iren right off the inside fiber. This is full time from continuity. So we want to see that ideally come back through all these guys. Anyone that stops against that with algorithms against them. GIS, General Mills, gap down by this morning, setting up the 15 or 2 reversal. If you're a smaller account guy, this is your staples, but nonetheless, it's not the strongest staples. Coke is definitely a little bit closer to being full-time from continuity up. It's also 2 up day. What about Costco? Not so much. Walmart? Yeah, Walmart 2 day with full-time from continuity, so a little bit firmer there in staples as well. Financials are gap up and sell to start the day after inside day, so that's not looking the hottest there. Citigroup is gap up sell to start the day. So we're going to monitor those financials. That wouldn't help out with MasterCard Visa, trying to get those moving. You see SPY, the shooter fiber, just like we said. Where's that going? Low of day, right there. Bang, takes them out. So all these guys, you might say, Alex, this was full-time from continuity. Yeah, it was. Everyone was buying, and now those guys go into losing trade. What do they have to do then? They've got to get out. Right? Everyone's long, and that flips. They would have to get out. Now, it might just go slight lower low. They get out a little bit, and then they start getting back in. Or it stays down there, and you get the shooter 15 reversal, 2 reversal here, which would take this out down to this stuff at 750, 82. Still early in the day, so we'll have to see. We are full-time from continuity up if we hold that daily open, 752.04. So that's what you'd want to be monitoring. Are we above or below that? We still have MasterCard and Visa relatively firm. COHR, green to red day with the RevStrat day with full time frame continuity down. Yeah, so we can see SPY, they triangle out a little bit, but then right here, they kick right back in. So this is the buyer. They buy, they get stopped out, and then they try to buy it again. We're still right at the top of the triangle, so you can trade this, but just got to be aware. If you do make another high day, right at the top here. So we'll see. Still very early in the day. I want to see what that second 15 has in about a minute. We prefer to see a 2215 back down because we'd have previous range of these guys to stop out. And then maybe back up again later in the day. That'd be the best ideal scenario. So here's the second 15s of the day. Do they confirm or do they negate what we know is true? For example, IREN, right? They sell. Then do they come back to sell more below this 3-2 as an add or continuation? For now, they go 3-1, so they firm up, going inside bar. Marvell goes inside, firming up. QCOM goes inside, firming up. Semis closer to 2-2 up, so semis are a little firmer. NVIDIA would be right there. 3-2-15 inside day up. This would be momentum, but that's where you have strength in the semis. RGTI with IREN taking yesterday's lows out. Also potential 3-2 down. So that adds some evidence to it. For now, SPY is inside 15, Qs is inside, Dow is inside, IWM is inside. IWM also had this big outside bar in the morning, so that goes 225er back through the range of the broadening formation here. MasterCard goes RevStrat 5er. So now, could that take out low of day? Maybe, but we have this mother bar issue. We're stuck in this. So they tried to take out these guys, tried to take out these guys. Now what? We're going to be able to get out of that. Semis goes 2-2-15er. So you can see on the daily, they're versed down, but then they firm up second 15 a day. They're still gaining evidence as time goes on. We'll see stuff like MU firms up here. NVIDIA 3-2-15 inside day up. That's where we said would be firmer. So that's where you see it. IREN still is full time from continuity down. So while the other pieces of the market, like semis, firm up a little bit going inside, that one does not for now. If you look at SPY, we can see it goes 2-2-2-5er. So that does firm things up on the second 15 of the day. And you can see how they stop them out, and then that buyer is still present. So they just reclaim it, go back up. Now, since it's full time from continuity, that's full time from continuity, right? They're just trying to go back to all-time highs at this point. Still an inside month, but they're trying to change that. 2 up week, 2 up day. Buyers have controlled today and this week for now in the spot. So tech, you can see tech 15ers right there. 2-2-15 firms things up in the tech. Still inside day, so it's stronger than semis. Then SMH 2-2-15 right there, gap down buy. So semis and tech, right? And that tells you NVIDIA, boom, ripper. That's exactly where they're buying, right? Above last week's highs, they're buying. Above yesterday's highs, they're buying. Above the morning 3-2 right there, that was the break to cause it. You can see MU, they're trying to crawl their way back. SNDK, 2-2-15 crawling their way back as well. QCOM would be closer to full time from continuity up, with the month, the week, the day, still inside 15 though. Visa went 15ers down, so you can see there's still gap up sell there. Haven't changed that. With financials gap up sell, trying to go outside day rev strat. Bank of America just went 2215 as well. So financials are gap up sell, semis are gap down buy. And that's what we're picking up on this morning. I ran to the lows, still good. Nice puker here. And I like that because we have full time frame continuity. You know, it is still an inside week, but we have all these pivots to take out, which would speed it up. So looks good there. What about QUBT? Yeah, QBTS. Yep. And RGTI. Not quite. So it's just IREN leading the downside there. But it's got to stay down there because this is a 3 on the 15. If you reclaim that, you could test the other side. So it's got to stay there, but it is weaker than the market. SPY had slight triangled out. They're still trying to take those morning highs out. Gold is also gap down by. Silver is also gap down by a little bit this morning. Not the biggest ranges in the world, about $1 worth of range in silver. About 4 points worth of range in gold. It's still, you know, like when I'm looking at all this stuff, what I'm thinking is just, wow, like not much is happening. Because although it seems like there's a lot going on, if we look at semis, look at this week. Doji, inside month, right? And that's what we're seeing. Like they tried it down. They try it up to 215, and they're working on it. We'll see if that goes outside day or not. But it's just kind of slow. And that was yesterday too, like really slow. These ranges were like, you know, $1, which in a $600 name, that's not that much. Now, since you can see we're reclaiming this 2-2 reversal back through this range, we know it's trying to take this out outside day. So we know that is happening. But the place to be looking would be NVIDIA, just because you have, you know, if everything's going to go, this one would actually really go. And you got a nice move off that, about 1% real quick into full time frame continuity. MU, they're still crawling back 15ers with SNDK as well as the semis. QCOM breaks here as well, full time frame continuity up QCOM. So anyone short in here in the morning, that's full time frame continuity against them, where all known groups are technically a buyer. So what do those shorts got to do? They got to cover. That's exactly what they got to do. AMD working at it as well. NXPI gap down, 2215's back up as well with full time frame continuity. So you can see we got a good chunk of the market doing that. So we go sector analysis. Gosh, I think might still have some data issues this morning. Must have been a pretty wild opening. It really doesn't look that bad. I'm not sure. Materials go inside day to the upside. So with gold and silver gap down by, that might help out, but materials right here. Anytime you're above 50, 55, we gauge magnitude. And you have the slight lower lows here, you have the higher highs here. So this, if that's in force above yesterday's highs, up into here at 52. Now what's that trying to create negator do? Since it's inside month, it's reversing, which would make sense. We have an outside week, so this is a broadening formation for sure. So when that breaks, that's trying to go to the other side, right? The buyers are willing to buy it up here. The sellers are willing to sell it down here. This is reversing. We want to see if the buyers are willing to buy it up again. Now, if we go to metals and mining, not so much. Ball, still inside day. DD. DuPont, still inside day. And sadly, I don't have my sectors up. I ran morning lows again. Puke. Puke. Full time frame continuity, puke. Broadening formation. The best thing to understand about a broadening formation is it's the only true way to gauge magnitude. You cannot gauge magnitude any other way. And it's because outside bars exist. So I ran this morning. When this goes gap up and it goes red right here, it has a target to become an outside bar, 2% lower. So the second that starts coming back in after gapping up, it's going to try and take that out, which it does. And then it keeps going. So whenever you take one side of the range and start coming back like this, yesterday, it gapped up, taking this out. And then it came back below this. Where's it trying to go? It's trying to go to the other side of this range. Where would that be? It'd be to take out this and this and this. So you can see on like a 2-day basis, what's it doing? Gap up. And this is trying to go outside on a 2-day basis to take out this and this. This is the only way you can actually gauge magnitude. Can't do it any other way. Because you have to go back through a previous range to have a target. It's like, if you're going in all-time highs, there's no target, right? But when we're coming back through a range, we have a target to take that out first and then this out. Just by logic. SPY. You see they're still full-time frame continuity up, so they're staying that way for now. Qs, not so much. Dow Jones, not so much. IWM, not so much. IWM's actually full-time frame continuity down. So you can see what IWM's doing, right? Takes out the highs, comes back in. Where's it going? Outside day. It's exactly where it's going. So when this goes 2 up, 2 down right here, and you're below the month, the week, the day, the 60 opens, then what you can say is when that breaks, everyone's selling that we know. This monthly guy, the weekly guy, the daily guy, the 5-minute guy, they're all selling right here. And you're coming back through a range where this guy has a stop here. These guys have a stop here. There's stops at yesterday's lows. So when that breaks here, this is logically the best place to short it. You sell, hit their stops, and then it hits the next stops, then it hits the next, and you have algorithms selling in your favor, all time frames. Now this is setting up the 15 inside bar, but the same thing's true on the 15 when that breaks in 2 minutes. And that's why I ran on this inside fiver mattered. Because when that broke, monthly, weekly, daily, 5-minute, 60-minute guy, everyone was selling right there. So it goes instantaneously. Semis might have a 225er up, firm things up. Go to NVIDIA, boom, highs. So you can see, why is NVIDIA flying compared to the rest of the semis? Why did we say it was stronger? And that's where you'd want to be a buyer of semis. Because it's above the month, the week, the day, and the 60 open. Because we have this broadening formation that's breaking out. Because we have an inside day signal from last night's nightly vid. Because we have a 2-2-week signal from last night's, or not last night's nightly vid, but from this week, breaking last week's highs. So you have a daily signal, weekly signal, and an outside 15 signal with algorithmic buying. That's something you look for. Now this is going to exhaust in 1 minute. So if you bought NVIDIA above 204.99 and you made 1% in 15 minutes, just make sure to defend that position. Don't let it come back on you. Now, when we're looking at the semi, they're still not all recovering. And this is why it's important to be looking at for that strength and weakness, because if we go to like MU, they are reversing, but notice it's below the month, below the week open, nowhere near taking yesterday's highs out. So they did firm up, but that didn't work. So whoever bought MU, what happens if this goes reversal down? Well, the day would be red, the month would be red, the week would be red, the 15 would go red. That would be an issue because everyone would be a seller against whoever just bought the morning highs. Imagine if you bought high of day and then you had an algorithm coming and selling 1,000 million shares against you. You might want to get out. So we're going to mind the flip. Second 30s of the day coming in hot. MU might have a 222 for the short side. Marvell inside. Marvell has to be weaker because it did not take out the morning highs. So these buyers were not willing to pay up there. And then QCOM, the shooter here, this would be in the conflict. You'll see the week and the month are green. The day would be red. So that may or may not work. We'll see. And then COHR, This is momentum shooter 30 into full time from continuity. So kind of like MU on the fiver this morning. That's if they negate what they're doing. Semis is still firm, mostly due to your NVIDIA, which you're going to see 3 NVIDIA. So this is a broadening formation. Mind the flip right here. If that's red, you want to defend by reducing. If it's green, you can hold or add. But it's a, you just want to be aware of that. SPY did make another high of day. Materials off the inside day break, they're going. And you'll see on the materials, this is only the daily and intraday guys. The month is inside, week is a big 3. But price must trade in the direction of the most 2s and 2s becoming 3s. So right now it's 2 up. Today it's a 2 up. It must be going up today and right now. True. It's already a 3 on the week, which means it's a broadening formation, which we already drew out here. But see how knowing that's a 3 on the week gives you that daily broadening formation. So when that is inside day up, you know exactly where it's trying to go. It's trying to go up there. IREN after the first 30 of the day, second 30 opens inside bar. So this goes into conflict, profit taking against that monthly daily intraday group. MasterCard went inside 15, so that still could go inside 15 down. And notice, go back through a range of these guys. It'd be in conflict. The week is red. The day is red. Then intraday 60-minute would be red. So you'd have that control against the month. We go to financials. Financials are closer to going 30 down. IWM. Yeah, so goes inside down, so that's good, but did not stay down. So what's it doing? It's coming back in, trying to become a 3 to that. So it's a little bit in there. And we would call this mother bar issues if we get stuck in here. These 2 bars inside of that. The key with understanding inside bars is when an inside bar breaks, you have to take out the range it was stuck inside. If this breaks down by a penny and comes back in, didn't work. And you could either flip it long, trying to go for the 3 here, or you just get out and be like, uh-oh, that didn't work. See if it sets up or breaks again. We go to semis. So far, semis, they go 5ers up, trying to go 30s, 2-2 back up semis. If it does go 2-2, you can see we have this range to come back through to go an outside day. So we'll see. MU right now goes 30s up, so they confirm what NVIDIA is doing. NVIDIA's still going. Nice inside day signal you got there, NVIDIA. Ripper up 3 points, 1.5%. And we still have a magnitude up here on the week, 213.99. So we still got that to take out. You got every reason to believe they're trying to do that above the 3-2 here and above the daily open today. SNDK is 30s up with MU, so they're also trying to go outside days with the chips. So it's AMD, SNDK, MU leading. Marvell, not so much. COHR still at low at day. SPY, there's high of day. So you can see on the 225ers here, they're still firm. They're just grinding their way back up. And that's where the triangle layout, like we pointed out in here, they stopped them out. They could easily just reclaim and go completely back the other way because full time for continuity. Algorithms buying, and then they met a seller, stopped out the buyers, and then the algorithms, they're still buying. They make the high day. So now we have the broadening formation, which looks like this. New high, new low, new high, comes back in a little bit. Still full time from continuity, so we'd prefer it to stay up there. MasterCard does go 15ers down, with financials a little bit weaker. Healthcares go 3-1-2 15ers down. They're close to being full time from continuity down, which would cause big issues, but that would probably trigger a lot of rotation back into tech. Materials, Ripper. Look at that. Get moving materials. Utilities going into the highs. A little bit more defensive. Staples going into the highs, so things like Coke still going to be firm. Walmart, that 2-2 day into full time frame continuity above 112.76, that's still happening. So you can see a little bit of buying still in staples. MU, another high day. You can see NVIDIA 30 did not stay up there. When it reclaims, since this 3 is a broadening formation, you have to know that. Because what that shows you is it could go all the way back down here, even though you're above all these opens. Doesn't matter. What matters is there's profit taking going on. So if everyone today is long and everyone goes to take profit, wham, take everyone out. So you just want to be aware of that. We'd prefer to just see slight stopping some guys out and then go. But what you're going to want to see is some new setups in here. Like 5-minute, 15-minute setups. Materials getting though. I wonder who in the material sector is doing that. This stuff lagging still? Nope, it is not. Beautiful. SHW, it looked like Lynn was in there. Let's see. There's a little bit of a delay here, so we'll see. But you see XLB, ripper. Right at the point that that daily reversed. Isn't that cool? Interestingly, no rare earths are really going. Uraniums, ooh. So right here, uraniums inside 15 are in about 7 minutes setting up, but you'll see. So this is a little different. The month is red, week is red, day is red. So that could be issues. But if we're above the daily open, those sellers are gone today, as far as we know. So we want to change that. If we can change the week and month opens, it's pretty neat, but it's setting up for next week, which is way more important to me. We talked about this on not last night's, but the night before, the nightly vid. We said this might happen. And what did we say? We said these dailies, if we zoom out, we'll zoom them out here. But we said, if we look at these daily reversals, these 2 down in green day, this was simultaneous setup with inside days and 2 down in green days across all uraniums here. Above 4178, uranium's reversed, which it did, and it ran a couple points. Now, if it stays up there, though, you have these huge broadening formations in here, gigantic broadening formation to work with. And that matters because if we go to those weeklies, you can see those weekly hammers would kick in next week across all these broadening formations. Now, it's not everyone, but we'll see next week, if those set up. But this week, you could be playing for that, right? When it reclaims this, you could say, well, if they're going up today, and that's low of day, maybe you could play that for next week, setting that up. You see SPY, they do profit take off the morning highs from the broadening formation. They have this little oneer triangle, so the triangle they out, stop them out, and then they might have the oneer back up if they're going to keep buying it. We'll see. Tech and semis inside 30 still. Well, I totally didn't even think to look at Myrna this morning on the downside, but let's see. It was that weekly guy, the monthly guy changed, the daily guy. Wow. So Myrna's almost kicking back into full time from continuity. And you can see this. And this is why threes are important. So 3, stuck, takes the highs out. The new day opens, the new 60-minute opens. The day, 60, and week all went red right there. Wham. So you can see whoever is buying this month, if we just look at a 1-minute basis this morning, right at the open, that monthly buyer's gone. It was the weekly, daily 60 seller right there against all of them. Pretty nuts, right? But you can see how that's now down at the monthly open. Technologies, you might have the inside 5 or 2 cause the 30s to break. They're still chopping them up inside 30s at this point in the tech. You see SPY, there's your little triangle, 221er. And this is like the joy of summer trading, right? When the ranges are, this is a 0.1% range on SPY, 0.1, right? These are summer markets. This is not doing much. And kind of like I said at the open, it's like, there might be some stuff, but we have to have discernible, like huge discernible themes for stuff to be really good. And we still have yet to see a big discernible theme. We can pick out strength, right? Like we be like NVIDIA right here, hammer fiver. That's stronger. Bright green day, nice green month, nice green week. That's stronger this week for sure. But that's, it's not all the semis, right? You go to SMH, red inside month, doji week, doji day at this point, inside 30. They're just not doing that much there besides NVIDIA. And it's not a problem, but it does make it harder because you just have less stuff going. Financials are gap up sell 2230. So let's help us out, have something to do. Goldman Sachs, Citigroup right there, gap up sell 2230, trying to go outside day, 2 going 3. And that would cause full time frame continuity to the downside as well, if that works. So Bank of America, same thing, 2-2 reversal, trying to go outside day, but it's above the monthly open, above the week open. It's a little different. MasterCard, they're still a little weaker. Visa inside, still at the lows. So it's like, there's some stuff. Bought a little bit materials. So we'll see later today as that continues. Do they have more to buy? It's just a day in 60 group, so it means we only got today, and then each 60 matters because each 60 could change control back to the weekly seller or keep controls of the daily buyer. So as we come into the flip, about 15 minutes materials, you'd want to know about that. But it is setting up the momentum hammer right here. They're going to keep going about 2 minutes. Goldman Sachs, 3-2-30s down, 2 going 3 day down. Morgan Stanley is 2-2-30s with Bank of America as well, and Wells Fargo, 2-2-30s. So you got a lot of financials simultaneously down. And if we go to your XLF, stuff's a little bit slow, a little bit delayed today. I think it's running on backup. Failover, yeah, it's still running on backup. I'll have to figure that one out. But, if I had it, let me see, we get the other scanner up here. Should do it. So 2-2 reversals, 161 reversals this morning on the 30s. If we go to financials, 13. And, this is historical. Sorry about that. It's from last night. Need to load it back to morning session. I was wondering. Here, let me sign into this. There we go. This scanner is so much more reliable, at least on the data side of things. MasterCard, 7 seconds, and then might have the 2-2-30 for about 15 minutes in MasterCard. They're going to go outside day. If we go to SPY, see the buyer tried to take them back to the morning highs, didn't work. Goes back to the bottom of the triangle. So The bigger good morning triangle, high of day, low of day, new high of day, new low of day might be playing out in here. Still a doji day, still a doji week. So easily that could change what they're doing below the daily open, but we're going to have to see. Things are still pretty slow, pretty tight. Staples to high of day. So Staples is going. Coke is still making highs of the day. Procter & Gamble's coming back. Mondelez, a little bit. MO. Ooh. So MO is setting up for the flip. You'll have the 2260 setting up right here at the bottom of the broadening formation. That's something we look for. And another thing we look for is this. Pivot machine gun style. So if that goes 2260 on the flip, you can back through all these guys. Since it's a 2 on the week, you could also be coming outside week back up into here, 3.4%. If we get all the staples going, that would be something worth knowing. As we get to the new 60s in about 15 minutes, we also see semis still inside 30s, tech still inside 30s, Q's still inside. Utilities going to the highs, so they're going more defensive posturing with staples and utilities. Material still going to the highs, and there's that fiber we said would set up right there. 2, 2, or was it? No, 2, 1, 2 momentum. So you have the daily break entry, and that is the add. If they're going daily magnitude right here, 5104 from here to here. But you'll see staples, utilities, materials. So it's a little bit more defensive. That's normally not what a tech rally looks like. Things setting up. IREN, 225ers down. Setting up maybe, inside 15, inside 30, or maybe it goes 2215 and just starts puking right away. We'll see. But Irene, as Sarah would put it, still got all day on that. If we go to Marvell setting up, inside 30 here, really tiny inside bar. And this is what we call mother bar issues. This doesn't work. You have this big big mother bar, huge mother bar, tiny little inside bar. So what you want to think is, when that breaks, you just don't have that many guys in here. Like, there might be like 10 guys trading Marvell today. It's like, that's at least what it looks like, right? Now, could that break and take out the morning lows? Maybe. It's just less likely to without trapping a lot more traders in the wrong side. Materials off the hammer fiber there just see ripping. So definitely discerning a material theme, huh? We're seeing that. How do we know about that right at the daily break? That's always the question, right? How did we know? Tesla did a PPG. What's that? Paper Ghost? My knowledge of the strat's impeccable. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I appreciate that. That's funny. It's been a many years. Many years. Myrna still getting puked on. Full time from continuity down below 69.78. Or no, 70.04. My bad. But yeah, they're having some issues now. COHR, another low a day with the momentum shooter 30. The rev strat day, full time from continuity down. You got every reason to believe that should work. Let's try to go down here. So COHR, you have the momentum shooter 60 outside bar here. If semis and or tech and chips and whatnot were to puke, this is already going down. So if we see semis go, let's say inside 30 down, we don't have to short that because that's in conflict, right? The day is still green. The week is a doji, is, inside. It's like, that's still kind of issues. But if we see that go down, COHR, the day is red, it's going down. This week is going down. This month is going down, and they're selling right now. So if we see it reverse, that selling would likely speed up because the ETFs would help out. So that's something you'd want to be looking at. I'm not sure about those option spreads. So you'd have to look at that yourself. If the spreads are bad, then You might just have to shy away from it. Look at materials gapping up intraday. Wow, are they buying materials today? Sure looks like it. Pew pew. Yeah. Yeah, cryptos. So we can see cryptos, they have the 3-1-2 day down. Then it goes inside. Then it broke up in Solana, but failed to get back into that range. So it acts as resistance, reclaiming yesterday's highs. Look at this. Inside bar, 4-hour breaks up, but then it starts coming back into that inside bar. Uh-oh. Boom. Gone. Gonzo. Now we can see who did it. Who was that guy that did that? It's the weekly seller. Now the daily seller. So it's the weekly and 60-minute seller right here that went in force. Gone. UCOM is also setting up inside 30s to cause the 2-2 day, which would change the month. So if that inside 30 breaks in QCOM, it would change the month, which might then therefore change the week. So Marvell, QCOM, COHR, Irene, those are the guys you want to know about coming into the new 60s. You see semis went inside 15 down, so they negated. They went 2 up, 1, 2 down reversal, bam. And that's closer to going full time from continuity down. So we'd want to know about that, like we said this morning. If things are firm, we go after things like MasterCard, Visa, financials, the boring type of stuff. If semis are weak, that's where you would see firmness. And then if things are weak, semis should be weak because they're closer to that full time from continuity down. Right now, we see staples and Utes going, so they're still going defensive posturing. Materials still going intraday, so we're still seeing that defensive posturing, which again is normally not tech rally. That could change, but we'll see. Financials, they broke down, but then they firm back up. So what's the next two? It'd be a 2-2-30 because that 2 down did not work to go out a day. It'd be a 2-2-30, which could change the day, which could change the week back into the month, full time firm continuity. So that's something we can look for. You see MasterCard right on the new 15. They broke down and then new 15, that was it. So they didn't do anything. Still inside MasterCard, so it's still firmer. Visa still inside. JP Morgan never broke down, so JP Morgan's going to be stronger as well. Momentum hammer day with full time firm continuity. Goldman Sachs will have 3-2 down, but then it reclaims the 3 back in the direction of the month, in the direction of the week. So maybe financials firm back up. For now, materials, utilities, staples, much more discernible trend there with the dailies. CoreWeave, let's see. So CoreWeave, you have the 2 down doji month, so not doing too much, but 2 down green week. So you got control to the sellers. And then 2-2 day, top of the broadening formation, nice. Then you have inside 15 back through the mother bar. Good. So you have 3-2-2-30 with the inside 15 to cause it. Good. Now that might go 2-2-5 right on the flip though and firm things up, so have to see. Semis, they're doji 30, so we'll see. When you don't have much of a discernible trend or a discernible theme, it can change, every 30 minutes, every 60 minutes. So just want to be aware of that as we go into the second 60s of the day. For now, SPY is still holding on to full-time firm continuity up. So on the new flip, what we'd want to see is that second 60. Are these buyers still here and they still got more to buy? Or are they done? Right? Because we already made the highs. They did what they were supposed to. Buyers bought into the new highs. Now everyone's long. They going to stay up there or not is our question coming into the flip. Hughes is still inside day. Dow is a little doji day. IWM, you can see almost an outside day. So that inside 15 did re-break and did take them all out with full time firm continuity. And you can see like on IWM, this is what we pointed out, that fiver. When that broke, full time from continuity down 225, or you had every reason to believe that should be algorithmic selling to go outside day. And that's exactly what they did. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, or 1. Trying to become a 2. You see, they're just shy of taking that out. So that's the strat right there. Find them algorithms, trade with them. IREN, we had that 225er here as well. You see, it's still inside 15 with 4 minutes to go. We'd prefer it stay that way, but it's setting up the momentum shooter 30 add. So if you're a puker guy off the 5er this morning here, or if you tried to hop it on the 5er here, we can look for that 30 add if it holds that morning low. We don't want to see that taken out before the flip. Are you crazy to like QQQ puts? Well, tell me what you know to be true about QQQ. It's red on the month. It's inside doji. It's a doji 2-down week, doji day. So I think you're crazy to trade options overall because it's just not doing anything. Compare that to Irene, 2-down month, red. It is inside week, so you might be able to yell at me for that, right? But it is 2-down day. And then we have the signal here. So we have the daily signal, 3-2 month signal, and the 30 signal with 2s. A little bit less dojis there. Like to be early. Yeah, but early, so like your NVIDIA last time, we're looking at that. Early there is okay because you have a 3-2 signal. This 3 shows you that aggression. So that they gap him down, they buy him up. That's really aggressive. The only way that could have been more aggressive is if it closed up here. So when that gap down buy starts kicking in and breaks that can change things because you're closer to that 2-2 week. If we go to Qs, what are we going to change? It's like, well, if it goes 3-1-2 up, we could trigger that. That'd be a little closer to happening. If it goes 3-1-2 down, maybe yesterday's lows, maybe. Right? You got a lot of distance to make that happen. So it's like, and then even if that happens, the month would still be doji inside. So it's just a little harder to say there. And when you have that, it's like inside month, all right, that doesn't matter. Doji week, all right, that really doesn't matter. Doji day, all right, that really doesn't matter to us. So what matters? Every 30 minutes, we're going to have to see what they're doing. So maybe Trump comes out with a tweet and he has something to say, but we'll see. Materials, much better. Bang. Slightly red fiber, bang. Short to get out of here. Well, what you could, the way I would put it, Citigroup, yeah. Since 2s become 3s, like we said, you want to know about that if you're going to be trading financials. Inside, up. The 30s down didn't work. So how does it look? You hit the bid, goes down, doesn't work, starts coming back, get out. Didn't work. 2-2-30 setting up. So now that could go 2-2-30 on the second 60 of the day. But what would we know is true? We'd have the daily signal. We're a doji month, doji outside week. So maybe it takes a high a day after that, not too certain, because we're right in the middle of all this. We have the daily signal today. So if you could get financials to all break the 30, then you might have a little more to talk about. But we would have preferred that outside day. Now it's a little bit trickier to say. We got about a minute here to the flip. And for all of you guys who are sorry, I was reading the chat. But for those of you guys who have been holding off, wait until the second 60 of the day. Like we always say, we gain evidence as time goes on. What do we know is true? Well, they're selling Irene, right? So we know that for now. MU, maybe you get some 2260s that's still conflicted in here, so it's not ideal. They did buy the SPY the first hour of the day, so we would have full time frame continuity SPY today anytime you're above that daily open. And then we did have discernible, buying in the materials, which we'll see, if that theme wants to continue or not. Going into the second 60s of the day, semis will all be inside 30. So either side of that gets our attention if you're watching the semis. Qs will be inside 30, so either side of that can get our attention too. Tech will be inside 30. So a lot of inside bars. Outside of that, there's not too much that we can point out. Just a little bit more defensive buying today, and that's kind of the gist. And we can also see if you dive into the inside 30 semis, it does have a rev strat 15. So you could be looking at that if you wanted to try and cause the 30. That would be there. Energies, they're a little conflicted. So you can see semis do go 15 rev strat, so they're trying to firm things up. Tech is a little bit late to that. They have all these pivot machine gun in here to come back through if those do kick in. You'd only have 15 minutes for that to work, though, so it's got to go if they're going to go. If we go in there, NVIDIA, you have the inside 15er. So that'd be a new signal since we no longer had that 30 signal intraday. It'd be momentum. So if you're a 30 guy or 15 guy from the morning, still good. Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low in NVIDIA. Still a full time frame continuity up. Materials from the daily and the 5 minute, that's also still good. No fibers against, so they're still buying that as far as we can tell. Staples and Utes, they go inside 60s, so the defensive stuff weakens back down a little bit. Right here, semis off the inside 30 up causes 60 up. So you can see we now have 3 signals in force. 15 rev strat signal right there to cause it. 30 inside signal, that's the second one. And we have the 60 signal. So that's 3 signals in force to cause an outside day for 15 minutes. They've got 15 minutes to do that. And I'm not sure who's doing that. It's not NVIDIA. It's not SNDK. I mean, SNDK is firm, but I have no idea who's doing that. And it looks like SPY, there's actually some news coming out, so be aware of that. Everything just broke the 60s down on news. 2-2 reversal SPY. So we're going to redraw that broadening formation. What's that news, guys? Besides the fact it's at 2-260 on the second 60 of the day. Crude oil flying. Uh-oh. Must be something to do with Iran. Suddenly stopped out. That's a good thing. So we go IWM that finally completed the outside day. But it looks like it's oil news. I don't see anyone talking about it yet. No idea. See. They're talking again. That's okay. So it looks like it's just Islamic Republic has asked us to continue talks. The energy markets still red. XLE, XOP, they're all going to low day. US oil gives back all its gains, so it looks like it's just the market freaking out for no reason. So we'll see if that going to set up as triangle day out going back into full time frame continuity, or is that day stay red? And when it comes to news intraday, that level that the news came out, this is at 9:32, this 2 minutes into the second 60 of the day, which always matters. That's the event continuity level. So everyone sells and hits the bid. They're like, news comes out, bad news, bad. But then if it comes back up through that range, it kicks back into full time frame continuity. Bad news turns good. So that would be the level to be paying attention to on SPY, 752.81. Staples, they still stay firm as inside 60. Same with the utilities staying inside 60. Materials, triangle they out 3, 1 on the fivers, so they firm back up. Still good on the daily signal. Notice they have not come back to the daily break. So materials, staples, utilities are still holding on a little bit. Semis are also still 2 up 60, so they're still holding on as well. IREN finally took them out. I'm good with that. Oops. So that's target 1. I want to see if we can get further than that, though. Since it's inside weak, I want to be aware of that. That is target 1. But I'd like to go wipe them all out. NVIDIA, let's see. So you see NVIDIA, same thing. They just triangle out some of these guys, stopping these guys out. And then maybe you get the RevStrat 15 in about 7 minutes, which would be 1, 2, 2 into full time frame continuity. And I know there was news that came out, but when we say mine the second 60 of the day, that's exactly why. Because people say, well, the news is the reason the price moved. It's like, yeah, true. But the reason price went down instead of going up on that news has nothing to do with news. It has everything to do with what did price actually do. Because when it breaks down and the news comes out, it's reflexive in the sense that what traders will do is stop out. It's like buy, 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 reversal. What do I have to do? Stop out. News is bad. And that's what causes this to go wham really fast. So this is what we call 2 up, 2 down on the second 60 of the day. And that's why we look for it. Not because news comes out, although a lot of times it will do that, but because when that second 60 breaks, it goes back through all these guys, causing them to stop out, which is what you see. It takes out all the nearby targets, and then it starts coming back. For now, inside fiver, so we're still mother bar to where that news came out. We'll have to see what they want to do with it. But what we'd prefer to see is triangle they out down and then back up into that full time frame continuity. You see materials already above where the news came out. So as far as materials is concerned, news doesn't matter. They just stop some guys out, inside bar, go back up. So what we'd like to look for is where is it that price is above where the news came out? Because that's where people, it's like in materials, if you did stop out, you might be getting back in anytime it's above that. So would everyone else if they're trading the same things. Staples would have the 15 hammers, so that'd firm things up there. Coke, they're already at high day. CAG already up there. Procter & Gamble setting up the 15 hammer. It's not all staples, but Mondelez 3-2 to the upside in the staples, firming back up on the 60s. Inside 5 SPY. Yeah, just be aware, you got to get out of that mother bar. If you don't, they could be in here for an hour. Just because we know we have these dojis, doji day, doji week, inside month. It's a little green, right? But since we have those dojis, it's not really doing that much. So it's got to get out of that or else you're stuck. It's like NVIDIA, doji at high day. So they're still up there. It's just doji right now. IREN closer to that inside 5 down, 312 again, just like the morning. It's like the data is coming back. So you can see if you look in here, Nike, Coca-Cola, Home Depot, Cat Tractor, Triple M, Materials, Home Builders, Procter Gamble, Boeing, Materials again. Oh, it moved, it shifted. Industrials, all back above their opens. It's more of still defensive stuff. Like it's currently not semi-tech rally, although those are also just about to be back above their opens. But we see a lot more buying just in the defensive stuff, which is less fun. If you're going down, the rest of these they're still coming back. So we should have some setups due to all these lower wicks, but we have to get above all this stuff. It's like how many people actually are trading in here this morning. Is it still a pretty lackluster day? If we go materials, you can see materials. Now it's above where the news came out. Boom. Anyone that's stopped down here, anyone that's short in here, they're now in a losing trade, and we're still going to take that out. 5104 right there. Staples almost at high a day, recovering. Looks like all the Bitcoin miner stuff is still full-time from continuity down with Irene. Might. No, it definitely was. Gap up sell yesterday with full-time from continuity. Anytime it was below all that, it was for sure going outside down here. And that just followed through today. But once it takes that out, does it stay there? It's 230.61. Semis closer to 3125ers up. We got about 15 minutes left. If we're on the 30, above that, that would still be signal true. If we're on the 60, if we're above that, that would still be a signal. It'd only be 2 signals, right? Week is still doji, month is still doji. So, right? We'll see. Materials, though, to the highs. Staples almost to the highs. So defense, defense, defense. We have the DFEN defensive sector. They're actually full-time from continuity down still, so nothing really changed. Second 15s of the new 60s, second 60 of the day, they open up. So you can see SPY, first 15 after with the news, sell, comes all the way back inside 15. So it's still not doing anything unless they can get out of that. Qs, same thing. Dow, a little closer going hammers up. Then IWM, a little closer hammers up. NASDAQ, yeah, just I'd be careful. For one, you're trading conflict. Doji month, Doji week. For two, this is mother bar issues. So when that ticks up, no one's really aggressive. Buyers aren't that aggressive. Sellers aren't that aggressive. So I'd be careful, Robert. Hmm. Stuck in the news candle all day. I mean, it's a possibility. The problem is just these dojis. Inside doji month, doji week, doji day. How are we now getting out of that? If the monthly guys aren't aggressive, the weekly guys are aggressive, the daily guys aren't that aggressive, who's going to be willing to buy up at new high day? I don't know. So maybe today is a good day to just learn how those broadening formations restart, because you're going to see them restarting here unless they can pop out of this soon. But you'd see this would be the tiny little baby broadening formation. Price discovery restarts here. The sellers hit the bid here, the buyers take the offer here, and that was it. So then the sellers are going to try and hit the bid again. The buyers will try and hit the bid again, or take the offer again. We'll see. Staples, high of day off the hammer 15er. Coke to the highs. It's like Procter & Gamble's still up there as well. CAG is still up there. GIS, General Mills, they're still coming back through the range as well. So more defensive stuff, that's the theme. They kill IV and puts and calls. Yeah, well, you can sell the spreads too. If this 15 is red, what you do is sell the call spread. And if the next one goes green, or, depending on which time frames you're using, but if that's red, you can sell the calls. Ideally, what we'd want is get this a little bit bigger, but they're going to be tight until they can pop out of that. Selling the options, it's best, like it'd be better done on things that are like really inside month, which maybe since it's like things are going to be slow at least for a little bit, maybe I can spend some time scanning. I can try and find that. Let's see. And we'll just monitor that event continuity level, see if that can change. But if we go month, we go quarter, we go one. Not stuff that's like doji. That's why I'm golfing soon. Yeah, I'm planning on it later today. Yeah, well, I mean, look at the whole way down Rocket Lab. Right there, 132. So it's 20 points off the highs. The full time frame continuity. That thing all the way down. And they pop it up and they did it again. Gosh. Ouch. So financials is a little bit above where that news came out as well with the materials, with the staples. Visa, yeah, right there. Now the only thing is you got this, now it's major conflict. So it's like, when I look at this, it's bright red week, you're just not changing that. Right? Now if we were 2-2 day in the morning and we were still going, like kind of like the video this morning, we probably could have changed that or at least set that up as a hammer. So at best, we get this rev strat 30 into high day. You could say since financials has that 30 hammer setting up, you might get the simultaneous break with Visa, with MasterCard. So you could definitely be watching those off of that 15er. But just know you need that help. We don't have any futures help right now. And if we go to semis, you can see how the broadening formation is restarting. Stuck in the middle here, just slight tick higher. Now we're looking for that slight tick lower below this. That's how that restarts, getting stuck now. So NVIDIA in the second 60, you can see is also restarting, getting stuck in the middle. Still firmer, but definitely getting a little stuck. If we go to COHR, they are still below their day, the week, and month open, so they still have that seller there with Irene. They go 2-2-5ers down. So you see they go inside restarting, slight tick up, 2-2 back down with full time frame continuity. We'd like to see that keep puking. Marvell is also still full time frame continuity down with COHR, with Irene. What was new in that statement? Well, I think it was it yesterday or maybe 2 days ago? Well, the only thing that was new was they're restarting talks because Trump, in the last presser stuff he was talking about, he's like, you can't talk to these lunatics. At least that was kind of like the gist, what I got. And the market seemed to like that because they're sick of the uncertainty. They're just like, stomp them out. That's what the market wants, at least. But yeah, it is what it is. Irene Fivers, bang, low of day. So you can see any on that button here, think gone, low of day. Give us the pukage. And that's the 2-260 continuation still happening. We still have all this to come back through on the day. Full time frame full gas pedal down. If we go to SPY, for the futures, guys, there's your triangle. You can see how that happened, right? Slight higher high, slight higher high. Then, boom, there's your slight lower low. So when you don't see it, some traders will draw channels and be like, look, it's a channel. It's like, yeah, until it's a broadening formation. And then it goes dink, takes those guys out, all the channel guys. And now you got the triangle. And since that happened, anyone that's buying in here, they technically go into a losing trade if it stays down there, or it's going to recover and try and change that continuity. But for now, the day 60-minute groups, we're still reversal in force on the 60-minute, still 2 going 3 day. It's just this inside bar, mother bar problem, right? This huge inside 15. It's like, how are we getting out of that still? Not sure. Not very sure. Which is why you want stuff like IREN. See how that's taken out low day? That's actually going somewhere. It's not stuck. It's actually hitting new lows on the day. That's where you'd want to be. Or at least, you know, stuff like materials, it did make a new high a day, but now it's starting to come back. So if you're a material guy, I'd make sure you're defending, moving your stops towards price. If you haven't already. COHR is also about to make low a day. You can see SPY, so after the slight lower low, goes 221, dink, right back into the broadening formation again. So now you can see how it got bigger, right? Slight higher highs, slight lower lows, restarting that series, repeating. If you go to semis, you're going to see the same thing. Triangle gets bigger, and then 221 right there, bang, firms them back up. Still inside. 2 minutes, all of this stuck inside of that. That is a mess. Irene, stay at low a day for us. Super tight stops. Yeah, I would just say, like, if you're going to see a big move, Robert, what we want to remember is these broadening formations, when you get outside of them, that's when they're going to get really big. So if you're trying to get a big move, you got to get outside of this. And this is the NAS. Yeah. NQ. You got to get outside of this thing right here. And you guys can see the morning session. This is the triangle they had this morning with that news. It's like dink, 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 dink. And it's restarting here. So how are we getting out? We go to Irene, still lows. COHR, pretty much just making new low a day. Marvell, they're working at it. MU closer to 2230 down to cause full time frame continuity down, which could be more issues. Man, I'm kind of upset on my IREN entry. Somehow I got the calls instead of the puts. Probably be up like over 70% right now. I'm only up 30%. Dink, dink, dink. New 30s open up. So, looks like you're going to open as inside 30s, but SPY inside 15. Now that equilibrium closed, it breaks here. When that breaks, it's still mother bar. So this is more likely to rev strap, but it is breaking. Qs is breaking as well. Notice Qs would be causing full time frame continuity. So it's a little different. It's just we're nowhere near taking low a day out. So got so much distance to cover. It's like, if these buyers are more aggressive, we could say that might work. Or these sellers are more aggressive, I mean. But it's hard to say that now. We see the majority inside 15 down, SPY, Qs, semis, tech. So, and the reason you want to think, you know, like, is because we know this is a broadening formation. So when you see an inside bar and it's nowhere near, like SPY is nowhere near high day, it's nowhere near low day, it's less likely to break out of this and hit low day. It's just it's not as close to doing that. Now, it doesn't mean it can't. It just means you have to understand that if it breaks down, like right here, the second it comes back above, it's like, well, it didn't work. If it breaks down below it again, they're trying again. But because you have this tiny inside bar, this big mother bar, that's the problem. How are you getting out of that? And the reason that happens is because anyone short into this news, their stops are up here, right? Anyone that's shorting in here, their stops are against this stuff. So anyone long after the news recovers, they buy it, and then they're like, I'm just going to put my stop down here. I'm going to put it here. So it goes down, no one has to stop out of their longs. It goes up, no one's got to stop out of their shorts. It goes down, no one's got to stop out of their longs. And they'll do that until the range gets big enough where you're actually taking people out. Because you can see when this went down, well, anyone that was long against this and this and this, they get taken out. So now, within this range here, everyone's short. So if it starts coming back through that, all of those guys get taken out. And that's how that range starts getting bigger over time because of crowded positions. It's like everyone's already got their positions here. Now we got to find some type of crowded position here to go against if they're going to get out of it. Now, when it comes to like Irene, since Irene, we saw that 225 here, when that kicks back into full time frame continuity, you don't need as big of a loser here because these sellers are willing to sell much lower, right? They might be willing to sell down at $30 again. Today, that's at least, they're trying to go down, right? Or they're definitely going down today. They're going down this month. When that kicks in, they're going down on all time frames. So you don't need as big of a loser to actually cause that to break because you have long red bar, really aggressive seller today, aggressive seller this month, slightly more aggressive this week. So you don't need as much versus when we're looking at SPY and Qs, it's like, not much, not much, not much. Materials, what, 32215ers, so they're taking their profit a little bit. They're nowhere near the daily open, so if you're swinging for next week, trying to set stuff up for next week, you don't really have to do much there. From the daily break this morning. We go to SPY. Notice anytime this is 2 up 1er, let's see, 223 minute. So when that reverses, notice these guys are all short, and then it ticks up a little bit. If these guys are going to get out, it'd be above that. Let's 751.43. If it's above that, then we might take these guys out. If not, then it's just slight higher high, and they might restart a triangle in here really tight. So we're not going to trade this, but we'll watch it and see how much bigger they can get. And you can see in here, this is the tiny little one now. Slight 1 penny higher, then didn't work, goes back in, trying to go slight penny lower than that. Really tight. So if you're on like a 15-second, you might be able to see that tick up, tick down, tick up, tick down. And then that re-breaks, so you can see that changes what's going on. 3-2 right there. So that breaks the 15 again. This is that inside 15 minute breaking there. Either that sustains or it doesn't, and they start coming back in again. So we'll watch it for fun. But the only thing I'm sitting in right now is IREN, because I got it from the morning and it has not come back. It goes inside 5 or down in IREN, so they're still confirming. He's going to come up with another statement. You think? So you can see SPY, they take them down. Everyone's short in here. But then it starts coming back a little bit. Those guys have to start covering their short. If we go 3-2-2-1er, they'd have to do that for 1 minute. Maybe that range gets a little bit bigger the other way. Those look like QCOM. You're gonna have the 131 30-minute. We got 20 minutes to go. We'll hold off on mentioning that. Irene, inside 5 down, about to make another low day. SPY, 2 down, 2 down. So they're still trying to get out of this. Still inside 15 and down on SPY. Still inside 15 down Qs. Semis inside 15 down. And then IWM inside 15 down. So you got semis, Qs, IWM. They are full time frame continuity, technically. Only for another 8 minutes, though. So it's like, is that going to change anything? I'm not sure. They're nowhere near taking those lows out still. Amazon, Microsoft. Let's see. Amazon, you can see the gap or up seller, and you can see the mother bar. It was beautiful. Stuck, gap down buy right there. Bang. Gap up, sell right there. Bang. Go back the other way. That's a beaut. We mentioned this on that inside 60 yesterday here. Which kicked into full time frame continuity, brought them all the way back up there. You can see semis, the triangle. Oops. Tiny gets a little bigger. 2-2 reversal. Anyone short in here, they get in trouble. You go to SPY, there it was. And sorry we weren't watching it, but the inside oneer, when that broke, boom, everyone's got to take profit, right? And you can see how that's working. All these guys were short. When the signal happens is exactly the moment everyone has to start reducing, exiting, doing something if they're short in this. So then it goes up and you get this little tiny oneer broadening formation that completes here, the short-term one. Then if it breaks out right there, it's going to cause these guys to cover, which might cause these guys, all of them to cover. And if it doesn't, then you pop right back into the short-term little triangle, and it's small again. But for now, you can see how that's working. And this is why it's very important. What a lot of traders will do is they will look at the strat and they will think it is only reversals and continuity, but that's not true. What's also true is broadening formations. So by understanding where that reversal is happening, you would know if you have a ton of guys on the other side of that that are going to have to do something if you're right. Or what happens if you're wrong. Because when this goes inside one or up, you know for a fact all these guys who are short, right when that happens, they're going to start covering. And if that does work, you know full time from continuity is at the other side of that. And this is tight stuff, so I'm not suggesting to trade it, but it's the right idea. So you can see the big broadening formation here, the triangle, with the signal back through a range of these guys. And if that signal breaks and goes instantly, that works, then this is the magnitude to flip back into every time frame in alignment, which is pretty neat. And now you can see short term, this would be the triangle like this. The lower low, the slight higher high to that stuff. So you have the big one, and then you have sub triangles, what we'd call that. You can see on the semis, right? Inside, test the highs, test the lows, back right, dead center of all this. Staples, you can see they're taking the profit. So defensive stuff, they're selling staples, selling utilities. They're selling some energies as well. So if they really cared about all that oil stuff going on, that you would not see that. You would not see them selling staples, utes, and all that stuff after the news. At least more than likely, you would not. Now, we still have these daily opens that are bright green in staples. So there's no 60 reversals to negate the day. We can see the VIX, they're still dropping that off a cliff as well, so not too much is changing. If we look at SPY, you can see they had momentum hammer oneer here. Did the hammer oneer at the bottom, inside bar, bang. Momentum hammer oneer for 1 minute goes up. Then change in continuity comes back in. And if we wanted to, we could redraw it, or we could just leave it. Let's say the support, if that can hold. This is really tight stuff, but it's fun to watch. Let's see. Things that we can pick up on that are above where that news came out. Target, Lululemon, Cisco, KMX, CarMax. It's really about it as far as things that are relatively green. Best Buy's on there as well. Etsy. So it's a little bit consumer cyclical. If you look at SPY, you can see from support, you got the nice triangle bottom, and you had support here, back through a range to cause full time frame continuity to change back up. We go to semis, you'll see the triangle here, bottom tick support, right back up to resistance up in here. All from the restart of that series, that broadening formation. And you can see, just like we said, this is exactly how price works. Everyone was short. That signal causes all the shorts to start covering, which is causing this to go back through the range. The broadening formation here expands. This is support, which then supports price to go back up into resistance, which is up in here. above the continuity level. So now anyone that's short, every time frame is green against them. All the guys who are short are in a losing position. Now, when that happens, it's also trying to get back above that event continuity level right here at 752.81. So by timing this broadening formation, engaging magnitude, you would know it's going to change that before it does, before anyone even knows that would happen, which is beautiful. Now, if we're going to redraw this, we would redraw it, from here to here, but we can just leave it like such, and we'll see what they want to do with it on SPY. But if we go to semis, you'll see the exact same thing. There's a broadening formation, just like so. Bink, dink, boom, breakout, gone. If you go to Qs, you can see the exact same thing happening here. And see how they're still not outside of the broadening formation? So some traders would say this is now breaking out of here. It's not. It would have to break out of the broadening formation because resistance is not horizontal. Continuity levels are. So this would be the continuity. If we're above that, that's a good thing. But support and resistance was right here to the penny, which you can notice was not this level. It was the broadening formation right there. So the question is, do they stay up there? Because if they do, SPY, that would be full time from continuity again. Dow Jones, not so much. It's really just SPY that's going to have full from continuity. Qs could cause it if they can get out of that. And you can see they go inside oneer, so now they agree on prices just about where the news came out. So you can redraw the triangle like this on SPY, and then they go profit taking. Qs does the same thing. You can see inside oneer, profit taking. Now what? Semis, you'll see the same thing. Inside oneer, they agree on prices, and then profit taking from the top of the try. And what you can see is that broadening formation, everything we saw in the 1 minute can be summed up as 1, restarting the broadening formation, 2, nowhere near taking this low out, so it comes back in, broadening formation the other way, 2 up in here, didn't take this out, starts coming back in, might do it again. So you can see from profit taking, they reclaim that level. Now, could it just be slight triangle day out and then they flip it back to green again? Maybe. But $2 range, moving a little bit. TQs, they slightly stop these guys out. That's about it. SPY slightly stops these guys out. Now we open new Fiverr, so notice this. Boom, inside Fiverr. So now what? How are we getting out of that? Gosh, right? Back to a tighter range it is. CBRS, let's see. Yeah, so you can see in here, 5% in the morning. Nice, 2 up day, 2 going 3 week. So you got the weekly, daily, 60-minute groups. And then you had it right here. Inside, ticks down. Notice nowhere near taking out. So then what does it do? Boom. Goes the other way. The daily buyer, the weekly buyer, 30-minute buyer against the monthly seller. And that's about to kick into full time from continuity, which should give you 228.30. That buyer's serious about it. If you go QCOM, or not QCOM, if you go semis, they are above where the news came out. So you can see they actually go 2 up. So they confirm. And this would be getting outside of that mother bar. You see how that broadening formation is what caused that to occur. To the penny, breaks out the mother bar. Now this inside bar has broken. All of these bars here was inside bar, broadening formation to the mother bar. And then we break above that. If we look at the day, it's still a 2 trying to become a 3. We're still doji month, doji week. So it's still 30-minute by 30-minute basis, 60-minute by 60-minute basis. So we'll have to see if that holds or not. SPY is inside 5. Qs is inside 5. Sarah's looking at NVIDIA. Yep, still at the highs. So if you're a daily guy, still has not come back to the daily break. Still has not come back to the 15-minute break on NVIDIA. And you've got the rest of the week, the rest of the day. Still where we can discern true buying is occurring in the semis versus stuff that's in conflict. It does look like AMD firmed up a little bit as well there. And if you look at NVIDIA, you can see it pretty much did the same thing, right? Stuck inside. Then they did slight higher highs, slight lower lows down in here. Still higher lows to that. Reversal comes all the way back through. Which is why those mother bars are very important to know about, right? Stuck in the middle, goes all the way back through. You see now that semis made the new high, they're taking a little bit of profit. Now the question would be, do they just go slight lower lows and then re-break that to get out of it? Or do we go too deep and we start coming back through this again, trying to take the other side of this mother bar out? Because you can see how much bigger this broadening formation got. And I don't know. I mean, with the conflict, doji month, doji week, 2 down green day, it's just conflicted. It's hard to say. They're just changing what they're doing a lot versus doing the same thing all day. Sarah's saying to the highs. Yeah. If you look at SPY, there's still full time frame continuity. So you're getting what you want. If you're trading this, you got everyone buying and the bad news out, the highs up in here. And then if anyone is shorting into that news or got stopped out, they might start chasing that thing back to the highs. There was no news. Funny. New fivers open up. SPY right away inside 5 up. So you can see everyone's taking the offer there. Got a nice alert here. So we got the new 60s in about 5 minutes setting up. And you'll see we got a lot of inside 60s, space, solar, communication services, utilities. I'm interested in those communication services. Meta inside 60. T-Mobile goes inside 60. It has a 2-2 day up this morning from last night's nightly vid, I believe. We discussed a little bit of that. So Meta and T-Mobile. You also have XLC, the Hammer 60 counter shooter. You see SPY, they did what they're supposed to with full time from continuity. There's the highs. So now Everyone's back to long. And you can see we went full time frame continuity up, triangle they out on the second 60 minute of the day within 2 minutes of that second 60 open. Stop these guys out. And it is actually down in here. So there's your broadening formation. Then it gets stuck inside, test the highs, test the lows, reclaim, test the highs, full time frame continuity up. So now this range, you can see it's a bit bigger. What we'd want to note is, can we get out of this? Can we break out of that? Because if we do and we start leaving this range, anyone short in here at all, they go into a further loss. Everyone that's got stopped out, they would start buying the highs. Now we're going to have to see if that's true or not. They obviously have not been that aggressive today, but we got about 3 minutes to the new 60s to find out. If we go to semis, they're still grinding their way up through here. NVIDIA re-breaking through those highs. Still good off the inside day, so it's still full time from continuity. Materials, they're still at the highs as well. And like we were saying before, they're selling the Utes and staples back down, which they wouldn't normally do if the news was actually bad. So that's helping out. Q's about to trigger the day. Let's see, NASDAQ. So NASDAQ 2260, you can see they stopped all these guys out. Reversal back up here. And yes, breaking out yesterday's highs. And if they do that, the week, the day group, the 60 group all gain control to the upside, but it's got to stay up there. We do have a previous range in the NASDAQ, so you'd have all this stuff to come back through. If they're going to try and give us some fireworks here on Friday, that's what you'd want to know about. Let's see. So if we look at the semis, they're still leading. About 13 semis, taking out all the highs on the 60s as we go into the next flip. So we're not going to have any 60 signals, but you can see on the second hour of the day, all the semis have reversed thus far. We do have a few inside bars. So you'll see AMD inside, 3-1. Intel inside, Marvell is inside, TSM is inside. Like this. So if we look at that, most of these, TSM, Intel, Marvell, they're a little bit weaker this month, pretty red, 2 downs, still red on the week. AMD's green. So AMD's the strongest one we see there. Cruise is 2 up on the week. Then on the day, AMD's inside. The rest of these are 2s down. So if they're going to buy all the semis, you see TSM, you have a pivot machine gun in there. AMD would be the strongest one. And we'll see, we have a flip about a minute here. So just like that second hour of the day, how it caused things to change, third hour of the day opens up, we wanted to mine the flip. See if they can confirm instead of change. And while they're doing that, you can see in the energy sector, selling down most of those energies as well. So we want to see if that confirms. Do they continue selling energies and buying the semis, or do they change what they're doing? If we look at what the 60s look like SPY, it's a big outside bar. So we're going to draw that broadening information out and make sure we have that so we know exactly where that would be. But Q's, SPY, you got outside hammer signals if they can get above those. If not, you got broadening formations that could be reclaimed. If we go to Utes, closer to 60s down, as inside down. Materials are closer to momentum 60s up. See utilities right away on the flip. They go inside 60 reversal in the direction of the week, the month, or in the direction of the weekly open, conflicted with the day and then doji month in Utes. Bloom Energy, they're puking, so you can see full time frame continuity. They have been selling that one, right? They sold that one all yesterday, gap up, sell it all this morning, all today. Still getting destroyed. You are correct. So you can see right on the flip, semis, what do they go to? Profit taking. And this is the joy of doji month, doji week. You don't have these bigger trenders going. So it's up to the daily and 60 guys, and each hour that changes. So what we want to see is if that's green and above this, 610, that would be what we need to get that going through here. Still slow motion as far as we're concerned, but for the broadening formation, we want to just stay out of this. 608.21, if we can stay out of that, that's good. You see SPY similarly. Just want to see them stay up there if they're going to get moving. Q's is firmer. And Q's has all these pivots to speed it up. So if you can stay up here, we should see it speed up through these guys. Although it's been pretty slow all morning. Take a quick peek at utilities. So you can see in the Utes right away, look at what's happening. Inside down duck, ED, EXE, NEE, SO, PEG, NI, right? So what are they doing? Rotating out of the defensive stuff, which they would not normally do that unless the news, didn't bother them that much. So that's something we see. They're also still selling, you can see XOP, third hour of the day. They're still coming back to sell more of that. So they're still selling energies. If we look in here, Tesla, 22260 hammer reversal for the Tesla traders. Then you got some other bots, ETF names, not really setting up. Or actually, you got some hammers in there, but a lot of insiders, but Tesla does firm up. BMRN in the biotechs goes 2-2 reversal as well as 322. Not the biggest mover in the world. But that does occur with the potential for full time frame continuity in BMRN. Now, if we count them on a twos, you can see it's relatively even, 10 and 12. So still a lot of inside 60s on the flip to start off. SPY's a little doji, Q's is a little doji. So we want those to get greener. Tesla, you took it 3DTE. You tell them to take out high a day. That's what you're looking for. For anyone that was watching IREN today, if you don't have an entry or not playing it yet, you got the triangle in here. So you can see inside, they make the new low day, then they reverse 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2. And then they start coming back. So right here, it's changing into full time from continuity down potentially. If we stay below that, 4108, and that would be the broadening formation back down through these guys. The sell, triangle they out, and then the re-puke, resell. NVIDIA, new high day again, still full time frame continuity up, full gas pedal to the upside. And you can see that started at the open. Profit taking, kicked in after the news. Just got to stay up there. Right on the new fibers, IREN, boom. 2-2. And look at just how fast that goes, watch. This is a 5-second basis. You can see in like 20 seconds down 0.5%. It's pretty neat. It's like, what exactly happened there? Algorithmic selling paired with these guys, whoever's buying in here. Right there, they all start getting out at the same time. So we might see the same in COHR, which is still a doji day, but you got the 15er right here and a full time frame continuity down below 319. Maybe MU2, if that could kick into full time frame continuity. It's still these dojis, so still a little bit less red than Irene there, right? Semis, you can see on the flip, inside 5 are down. So notice every 60 matters. That new 60 opens when that goes red. That was it. Still a doji week, still a doji month, slightly green day, but that 60, that's what matters, because if it's not green, they ain't going up. We go to SPY, pretty much the same thing. They're just taking some profit. So still really slow stuff here this morning, and unable for them to get out of that. So if you look at your NASDAQ, they did make the new high. And then they go 225er, so they're still in this broadening formation. So it's like they test the low, they test the high, they test the low, they test the high. They still have not broken out. Now, the one thing we can say is it's not reversing the semis, but that's the only thing we could say. Microsoft goes 60 reversal, so they firm up a little bit. Meta is trying to go outside 60 after an inside bar, so they're taking profit in Meta. There just ain't much that we can discern like a huge theme here. You can definitely say the energies, those are a little bit weaker, but a little bit of the Utes, but you can see a lot of the Utes, they broke down, inside down, but then they reclaimed that. So some of them reclaimed those inside bars. That means they're staying inside of that morning range, kind of like the SPY did after that news, the mother bar. And if we look at today, you can see the theme would be home builders, discretionary, biotechs and energies on the downside with a little bit of semis. Beam from the nightly vid, they gave you every single pivot we talked about yesterday. Pretty good. So you can see some of the biotechs today are getting hit. Not some, actually most. So if we go like this, they're pretty much selling every single one. These ones would be delisted or I think some type of buyout news. And energies today, similar. So you can see the T2 reversal WMB, KMI, AM, MPLX. And then Dyno's a rev strat in force. LNG's outside in force. And then home builders today, a lot of them firmed up after hitting their weekly magnitudes yesterday. So setting up for next week, we're going to have a ton of home builders like this. Hammer, 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 hammer. All of those setting up for a 2-2. Just your experience? No, that's the strat, Uncle Amu. He said, legit bad news, candle goes down and stays down. Candles reverse immediately, could always add for a reversal. Yeah, absolutely. It's just the strat. Because a 2, if it fails, becomes a 3. So if bad news, meta gaps down. If that's bad news, it stays down. If it starts coming back, that's a 3. Bang. Right? It's everything. So you go to MU. And that breaks or that breaks up in here. Looks good, but if it comes back, boom, outside bar. Bang. And you see, we mentioned MU on that flip could cause full time frame continuity down, and it does right there. Why would that happen? When the third 60 of the day opens, just like the second 60 when the news came out, the same thing is true here. Third 60 opens, algorithms change what they're doing. They're selling today, right now, this week, and this month in MU. When that happens, whoever bought high of day, bang, they got to get out. Take all these guys out. Wham. We go to Irene. Bang, right? They're bringing them down too. They're working on COHR. We'll see if they've got enough selling in them. If we go to semis, inside 5 down on the flip, that's something you look for because change what they're doing, right? Like we said, hour by hour. When you're doji on these big time frames, they're not doing anything. So every hour changes what they're doing. They might be buying a little bit today, but right now, nope. Mind the flip. We always say it for that reason. If we go to the Utes, I'll actually go to those 60s and show you. Is it interesting? I didn't know it pulls it off of that list. Let's see if it put it over here. It didn't. That's interesting. Well, I wonder if I can go like this. I think it can. Yeah, it's not letting me. Well, let's take a look at SPY though. So SPY, oops. You see, same thing on the flip. Changes everything they're doing. Right up in here, 225er, 2, 2, 2, coming back through the triangle again. So same thing's happening here. Everyone's short, comes back in, cover their shorts, everyone gets long. Right on the flip, everyone's long, everyone gets forced to cover that. And that's, when you look at full time frame continuity, that's always true. If it's full time frame continuity, it's a good thing. If it changes, that's profit taking, stopping guys out. So you can see they stopped out, about 80% of the guys that bought after the news. Yet, still doji here, still doji here, still doji here. So it's still not doing anything. Just going back and forth. You can see MU completely took everyone out. MU's getting sold here. Yep. 2-2 on the flip after the mother bar. And that's something I need to make sure that's my to-do. Maybe I can just have AI do it up for me right now. Let's see. Where is it? You can see after a low day, MU, yeah, Chuck, you're right. But now that they took all that out, there it is, still inside month. It is a 2 on the week, it is 2 on the day, but it's doji. So does this seller have any more to sell, or is that it? They go inside right here, restarting price discovery back and forth. So how are you getting out of that inside fiver? If you go to SPY, second 15 of the 60 opens up, goes inside. Still inside 30, still inside 60 on the SPY. But we got this triangle, so they are trying to come back through that. It's got to break down again. Irene, let's see. You got the potential 2215 down into full time frame continuity. And you can see if we go to semis, this is why you have to know what a mother bar is. Look at what it's doing. Broadening formation down, goes up, inside fiver, reclaims a mother bar. Why does that matter? Because the mother bar is a range. So if you reclaim the highs, we know outside bars exist. It's trying to go down there. So if it does go down there, you You get to hold it the whole way. If it doesn't, you just cover it, whatever. And ideally, we'd be doing this on stuff that's actually moving. It's moving a little bit. 1% in 10 minutes, it's not the worst in the world, but the spreads in semis, SMH are not the best. NVIDIA spreads are a lot better. Let's see. For now, nothing reversing. If we go to SPY, might feel like they're reversing a lot, but what's true is it's inside 60 minutes. So since we're inside, same thing applies as what we were talking about before, right? When you get stuck in the middle, if you're nowhere near taking this out, you're more likely to get the broadening formation going the other way. Now, since we go inside 15, it actually is, if we look at this would be what we're stuck in the middle of right here. So this is where it's restarting. It goes up, goes down. It's going to get bigger from right here, really tight stuff. So it might look something like this. And that's from that inside 15 right there, you can see. So we got a ton of inside 15s cooking up. And there it is, right? Test the lows, test the highs, inside 15. So when you look at SPY, first 15 minutes of the hour, they sell down, but there's still an inside bar on the hour. So when that firms back up, it's trying to go back through these guys because these guys sold into a consolidation on the hour, into a daily uptrend and a weekly uptrend. So you're going to see how they're going back and forth until we can get out of this stuff. NVIDIA is still firm. You can see it's still holding those previous highs there, which is what you want to see. You want to see them stay up and out of that previous range. That's a good thing for the buyers of NVIDIA today. Materials had some triangle layout, slight lower lows, they firm up. So still has that daily magnitude there, materials to take out. You see the look at CRML. Wow, I should have had that on a nightly vid, but look at that. Red month, inside week or down, goes inside day right here. Wham, gone. What about USAR? Inside day. Looks like that's about it. If you go to MU, you can see they're still holding full time frame continuity down. So if you're a short guy from the 15, you could be short against that now. Still an inside fivers, so no reversal yet. So it could just be slight profit taking, and then they go inside down puker and they keep removing. Maybe. We'll find out. Soon enough, once that inside bar can break, see if we can pull this up. There's no way that's right. It's probably pulling from the wrong data, huh? Oh, 60-minute basis. Got it. Interesting. So you can see it's pretty much just energies, a little bit of Utes, then all of the things going up, there's like 20% of each sector. So it's like, wow, not much is going on. Not much at all. In SPY calls, if you're down 50%, I mean, it depends what are you trying to do. The thing that's troublesome here is since we're doji day, we're doji month, doji week, everything's subject to change because they're not like these guys, the big time frame guys, they're not doing anything. So like that's why you're going to see every 15 minutes. It's like they're selling here, then it goes down, then they're buying. They're buying here, then the new one opens, then they're selling. Then a new one opens, then they're buying. That's why it's going back and forth like this. So if you're in calls, what I would say is based on continuity, you're correct, right? It's going up today. It's going up this week. It's just a matter of can we break out of this stuff? Because the range will only expand if you can stay outside of the previous range. So you could say, like, I'm going to hold my calls because the day is still 2 up, the week's still 2 up. The problem is if you're in 0 DTEs, they're going to go towards 0. If they can't get out of this, they're going to end up being 0. And that's why being down 50%, I'd prefer you not do that. If you start losing, it's better to just get out. Now, if you're on 0 DTEs, since they do, they move a lot more volatile, what we say is just size for 0. So if you're sized appropriately, then you could say, well, I'm just going to wait. But the waiting game hasn't really worked just because these guys are still dojis. So the longer you wait, it could just stay like this and stay doji. We need 60 signals, 30 signals to change that. Because the only way this changes is if we break the previous 60 high here, and that'd be a hammer signal. Or if this goes inside for another 40 minutes, and then we break the inside bar in the direction of these guys. It's the only way this would be going up. Can't do anything else. So we'll have to find out. You might have an inside 15 signal that could break the 60. That'd probably help you out. We are strolling up to 11 o'clock. Normally we go until about noon. So since we've been talking a lot about the market, things are slowing down a little. Like they've never been fast today, but since things are a bit slower. If you guys have anything you want to actually discuss, questions, concerns, we'll take the time now to do that. And then we'll probably end up calling it a day, a little bit before noon, more likely. And that being said, it's not to say that the market can't move. We have full time frame continuity up, so it's just a matter of can we get that condition true and stay that way. And if you look at the future side of things, they're actually full time frame continuity up right now. So if this goes inside 15, break up, that would be everyone buying at that point. It's just we'll need attack and semis and all that stuff to actually stay that way, which has been the problem today. We just haven't been able to see a buyer actually stick around. Heading to golf. Hope this goes up. Yeah. Yep. Irene inside 15er. So they did peak a little bit, but we're going to have to see it set up again on the inside bar. You'll have MU inside, COHR inside as well. So just a lot of the weaker semi / data center guys. What we still see as the strongest, if you look at today, that discretionary basket, all of these guys, you can see you've got all day on this stuff. So if you're going to watch stuff into the close, you'd want to be watching these guys. Ford is going to the highs, PKNG, DHI, which is your home builds, Best Buy, these good bit stronger than other things. GM's also going to the highs, so that might include Tesla eventually. But you could say similar about the home builders. And the key here is that you can see they are going back through a range. It's like JCI, you're coming back through these guys. Car, you're coming back through all these guys who are short. So if there's going to be guys who like really get moving into the close, it'd probably be anywhere the shorts have to start covering, right? While the market's kind of flat. Now, what you'd look for is that corrective activity. So like car, see that 30, I'm not sure if that's a 2 down. Let's see. So it's equal lows, but it's inside 30. If you go to the 15, you'll see that slight corrective 15. That's all you need. Just slight corrective activity to get a reversal going back in there. That might be enough to get them to rally into the latter part of the day. But JCI, same thing. You see it grind them up all day, and then slight triangle day out, and then they start coming back. So could be looking at that stuff. I'm not sure how liquid they are. They tend to be less liquid in the home builders. You could say similar stuff about materials. You got a lot of those that are 2s. You can see MU starts negating, so slight lower low, and then the fibers inside break the other way. Still dojis on everything, doing not much. These are coming back a little bit. You can see 2 down the first 15, goes inside and green the second 15, just back to doji week, doji month. We go to Nvidia, still very firm, holding up the morning highs. Still has the weekly targets up there. It was 213.99, yep. Sunny San Diego, enjoy. It's a beautiful day outside today too. I'm gonna grab my girlfriend and I want to go to the golf course. That's kind of the plan. Semis reverse with MU, and I imagine Nvidia is going to be following suit. SPY reverses as well. The 15er, the Qs 15er, so simultaneous 15ers up, trying to cause full time frame continuity in the SPY. With tech, semis, SPY, and Qs all together. Something you look for, because when that happens, you get everything going. So you can see on a 15, I don't know if it'll actually load it. I haven't tried yet. Might be a little bit delayed. You can see on a 15 basis right there. It's 18 out of 18 semis right here on the 15. Look at this. We blow this up. This is the type of stuff you look for, because what you want to see is you want to see the whole sector go. You want to see a lot of money pouring in. So when we look at that, that's exactly what's going on. And you see every inside bar that formed break to the upside. So that's not happening just in semis, but you're going to see robotics doing the same thing, all of those breaking. And that's on a very short-term basis, right? A 15 basis. Like we want to see that on like a 60 basis, right? But you can see right on the 15 flip, it's like they're buying a ton of this stuff. You got, I'm not sure why that says 23. I'd have to check to fix that. But you can see we have tons of these twos breaking here in force. And if that stays that way, it overpowers whoever's selling. And it shows you they're selling utilities. So if you look in here, we pointed out on the flip that they were selling utilities on those inside bars. Now the 15ers go breaking down on all those guys. They're selling a little bit more of them. So it shows you a little rotation, right? But this is really short-term intraday stuff. So it's what you look for, but we want that on like a monthly basis. We want longer than 15 minutes to go after it. And you can see how when that happens, SPY breaks and it goes bang right away, because that's a buy order hitting everything. Tech, semi, SPY, and Qs at the same time. But it's like, how much do they have to buy? Do they have like $100 million? Do they got $1 billion? I have no idea. No idea. I see your question. Yep. So can you truly scalp and or day trade with the strat? Yeah. But what you have to understand is not every reversal is a trade. What you are looking for is very specific if you're going to be aggressively trading intraday. It looks like, you go to IREN today. Looks like this. Red month, red week, red day. Anytime it's the 60-minute is red in here, that's a sell. Because what you're picking up on is algorithmic trading. They're selling this month. They're selling this week. They're selling today. They're selling right now. And then you have to align that with losers. So what does that look like? Like on a daily basis. If we look at this, and this breaks yesterday's lows, you got anyone that bought in here, they will have their stops against the obvious pivots like this. So we want to align full time frame continuity, all the time frames in our favor, against losing positions. So when you look at something like the futures right now, just for example, right? When this breaks, you got the guys who sold in here with everyone buying month, week, day, 60 intraday groups going to the upside. But it's not just how much, it's not just what color is it. It's also how much do you have? Because if we look here, we're up 16 points from the daily open. That's like nothing. That's like $1 on SPY. It's like nothing. If you look at the month, we're up 70 points. So we're up 1%, but that's like nothing. There's stocks that go 1% in a minute, right? So we have to understand that's what we're looking for. We want algorithms going against losing traders, but we want to align that with long red and green bars. We want long green bars. So when we look at NVIDIA, the reason NVIDIA is going today is because, if we replay this, why was it on our nightly list? Well, if you look here, oops. What did it? I don't even know what it did. We'll see. So the daily guys sold. These daily guys did sell yesterday. What are they doing this month? They're buying this month. What are they doing this week? They're buying this week. So if this daily guy sold, they're wrong. How would we know if they're wrong? Well, if we break above them, they have to get out. And we look left, notice we have all of these guys who sold. So we have the month, the week, the day, and we're going back through that range. So right in the morning when that breaks, it's like, uh-oh, those guys were way wrong. And it goes instantly. Because if they did sell in here, they've got to get out because you're pairing them with algorithmic buying. And we pick that up or we picked up on that on the second 15 of the day because we saw them buy here, first 15, and then we're like, all right, if they're still buying, it will re-break right there. So when that happens, you're in, and you've got every reason to believe it's going up today, this month, this week. The other thing is we have signals. This 3, this outside bar, is a signal. So when that 3-2 breaks, you have the daily signal, you have the 3-2 signal, and you have a 2-2 reversal on the week. So we got 3 signals going here. Signals cause movement. So when you get all those signals going, it's got to be going. And that's proven by what it does today, right? It's still going. Inside 15 right here, that's going to cause movement. It's going to make a new high day. Then it's a matter of, do they have more to buy? And you can see, like, if we go to semis, that inside 15, bang, takes out these guys. So anyone that's shorted in here, they get taken out at the highs. But how aggressive are these buyers? Well, it's a doji month, doji week, slightly green day. So you have daily buyers. That's it. That's it. That's all you got. So we'll have to see. But you want to think in those ways, because if you think that way, what you can do is you can time when that's going to happen. So if we go to, let's see, today's just trickier because there wasn't much going on. But if we go to, the day, discretionary would be probably a better example of these guys. So if we look in here, we can see the setups. It's like DHI, this was an inside bar yesterday. PHM, this was, let's see, low. This was an inside bar yesterday. BNG, this was a 2 down, but it was green yesterday. So what are these? Why do these matter? When you have an inside bar, you know it's going to break one side of that. So when it breaks, you can look at it and say, well, what are they doing? Well, if we look at PHM, it's a reversal, and notice it's back through a range. These guys who are short. So if you're right, and price is reversing there, you have all these guys to come back through. That's something we'd like to know about. Oops. We'll open it up here. So when that reverses, that's something we want to know about. What is it doing though? Like, what time frames are involved? Well, if you look here, the year is red, the quarter is red, the month is red, the week is red, the day is green, 60, 30 red right now. So you can see it's only the daily group. So you have less evidence there. Versus anything that had full time frame continuity like NVIDIA. I don't know if it'll let me. I'll have to go like this. Versus if we go to NVIDIA, notice green year, green quarter, green month, green week, green day, green 60, 30 intraday. And then we have magnitude, the next targets. The weekly target, 213.99. We pointed that out this morning. So you can see the 60 is continuing. The day is a signal in force. The week is a signal in force. This is all evidence, because signals that are breaking are evidence price is moving. So when you align that, you're going back through a range with everyone buying. So you want to think, these losers got to get out. They've got to get out. If everyone's buying and you're short, you've got to do something. So when we go to anything where you can find that condition happening, that's where you're going to create instant winning positions if you're correct. Now, that doesn't mean that the analysis is never wrong. It just means you know when it's going to be, if it's right. You know if it's right. It's like Clean Spark right here. This gaps up, and like a gap up sell, because when it gaps up, you're at the top of the range. So we're at the top of the range, it gaps up. The second it's below this, the month, the week, the day, the 60, they're all red. So if you're a short-term intraday trader, what would you want to do? You'd want to go short on a reversal with a tight stop and then add to it if it works. Because if it works, you have algorithms in your favor and you know where it's going. You're trying to go back to this low right here, which you can see. They take that out to the penny and then they were done selling. So it gaps up. It goes reversal down here, but then it comes back and stops you out. So how much would you lose? The widest stop we have would be, and just give me a sec to, the widest stop we have would be the reversal. So it goes down, you short it. When it reverses up, you stop out 14 cents. Then it sets up again, goes up, goes reversal down, and then it works. Wham! Right there, the algorithms kick in. You know exactly what's going on. Where's it going? Down there. How long do you have? Well, the month, the week, day, 60, they're all red, so you got all day. So at sell, it continues, add, 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 add. Hits your target, get out. And that would be how you do this intraday. Now it's really specific because you have to align all three things. You need to use the broadening function. You need to align all the time frames, and then you need to short when it reverses. You don't want to just wait and start selling at low a day. You want to sell it when it reverses because then you have losers to actually take out. So if we go to MU, for example, again, we don't have the best examples from today just because it wasn't the craziest day. But if we go to MU, you'll see it makes a new high a day. So once that happens, everyone's long, which means if it reverses, everyone's got to start doing something. Then it goes inside, then it goes up, and it forms this shooter. When this kicks in and then closes down here, that worked. Where's it trying to go? Well, after new high a day, it'd be trying to go to new low a day if it's going to complete. So it goes 2 down again, continue or sell more. 2 down again, wham, there's new low a day. And then that was it. Comes back in, goes inside, reversal. After new low a day, where's it trying to go? Back to new high a day. And it's because those broadening formations are how price is going to trade. It's going to both sides. The main I guess to tie a bow on it, the main thing to understand about intraday trading is the big time frames matter. Month, week, day, 60. That matters when you're trading intraday. And it matters because if you don't have all those time frames up, you don't know what price is doing. Because if you're like, I want to buy this because it's gapping down. It's like, well, why? If we go to semis, it's like, why would we buy that on a gap down? Well, the week could be green. It's like, okay, well, that's cool. Could also go an outside week if that worked. Well, we're running out of time, so it's probably not going to do that. But then we go to the month. It's like, well, it's an inside month. It's like, okay, that makes sense. Because it gaps down, it's still consolidating this month, which means what? Gap down, buy, still consolidating. If it gaps up, they sell it, still consolidating. That's exactly what they did yesterday. They gap it up and they sell some, still consolidating on the month. They gap it down on the day, they buy some, consolidating on the month. So it makes sense. And the reason it makes sense is because a consolidation would look like going back and forth like this, right? So if it gaps down into the bottom of the range, it's probably going back through. And so that matters, right? If you're trading intraday, because then you can know, well, if I'm going to trade the 5-minute reversals, it goes down and then it reverses here, bang, for 5 minutes. And then you get out. Lasted 5 minutes. Reversed here. Then it sets up again. Bang, didn't work. All right, get out. 2, 1, 2 down, 2 down, 2 up, bang. And then it made high a day. And then news came out, stops everyone out. And then mother bar, stop, goes up a little bit, doesn't take that out, goes down, reversal here, right there. Bang, 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 takes them all out. Then profit taking, and then inside, and then bang, 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 going back to the middle. So all day it's down, but it's going up because we're consolidating this month. So you'd prefer buy this fiver and then get out. Try this one, didn't work. All right, get out. Buy this one, high of day, and then news comes out. So hopefully you get a break even stop. Maybe there's some slippage that could happen. Then it goes mother bar, right? Goes up a little, goes down. Buy this one, ding, 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 all the way up. Then inside, get out. Goes down, inside reversal right here, ding, 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 high of day, and then get out. So all day, that's all you're doing. Buy, get out, buy, get out. Because that's what it's trying to do. If you're trying to trade this, what we prefer to trade is long green bars, stuff that's really going. So if we look at BBY, compare, I'm going to do it like this. So compare the evidence we had here. This was inside week up as a signal. This was green on the month. So green week, green month. We had an inside week signal. We also had a hammer month signal. So that's 2 signals. Then this day it went down, taking these guys out. Triangle. There's your broadening formation. Then it forms a hammer. That's a signal. So when this breaks up, you have 3 potential signals today on Thursday. And you have everyone buying. That should just go. It should just break and go instantly, which is exactly what it does. And at that point, the month was already up 5%. So it's actually moving somewhere. SPY's up like 0.77%. That was up 5% when it broke. So it goes from here, it goes another 5%. Because in order to go 10%, you've got to go 5% first, right? So we know that we want the long red and green bars. It's not chasing if you're buying it when it reverses back into that. It's chasing if you're buying up at the highs here. If you buy this reversal back up, you have a target. So if you look at this, you can see exactly what they did. They open, everyone's a buyer. Then there's some slight profit taking. They come to buy. Profit taking, they go to buy more. Profit taking, right there's your broadening information. Right up in here. Oops. Looks like this. So it goes up, stops these guys out right here. That's when they start buying again. Then they slightly stop these guys out, and then right here at the open, they're continuing to go after that. Then they stop these guys out, and then they continue to buy. So you can see, based on those bigger time frames, that's how you're going to get the ones where you buy it and it goes 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, because you're aligning it. If we go to semis, we showed you that simultaneous break on the 15-minute. Still true. So you see they bought it, and then they came back to buy more. So they're trying to give you that outside day. And if we go to your semis overall, go right here on the 15 again. Look at semis. You still got 14, 15 breaking to the upside. We had 20 before. There's still a ton of buying going on there. Still a ton of buying in the bots ETF as well. We also see some biotechs coming back. Just a little bit. But we'd want the ones taking the morning highs out. So let's see. Seagon would be a little stronger. Prax, a little stronger. Roy V. So you can see these are all broadening formations, right? They sell them down, and then biotechs, they come back to buy some. Excel, BMRN. So they definitely have a good chunk of these that are firming up. It'd be these guys. But you can kind of get the rough idea. You want to have algorithmic buying with reversals going back through a range. Now, I guess the other piece to it is when you do have really aggressive buying, you also can go against it if you know when to do that and know, what you're up against. It's like, for example, let's think, Ford. It's not a good example of going against it. Let's see. Yeah, we could go look at Google. So Google, we can see the month, the week, they were all green. And then Tuesday, they set this up, 2-2 reversal. So when that breaks, you have 1 day to try and change that. And they get down there, but they didn't change it. But since it's a daily reversal, it lasts 1 day, right? That matters. So when you're looking at timing the exact top or bottom, you don't have to have every time frame aligned to do it, however you'd prefer to. Trying to see if I could find the example I'm thinking of. I don't think I can. But semis, here it is. Finally going. 2, 2, and they're going. We'll go to NVIDIA. See how green is getting greener? That inside 15 break. 2, 2. Everyone's a buyer. Anyone short, they're in trouble. And everyone that's, anyone that stopped out in here, they're chasing up in here for it, which is good. We go to Qs off the inside 15 when we saw that whole market, Qs, semis, tech, SPY, all of it break. Right, they're starting to get out of that. So we look up and left on Qs. We got to remember, we're going against other traders. So they're going to put their stops against obvious pivots or where they got in. So anyone shorting tech, thinking the AI bubble's popping, right? If we can stay up here, that same outside 60 we talked about before, We said if you're going to be holding those calls, right, you need to see these 60s break. So this is that hammer break. Still got 8 minutes left, so we'll see. But notice it's still not up that much, right? 95 cents. It would have been better if this broke 45 minutes ago and we had the full hour to actually like go after it. But it did not. So we'll see. They got more to buy in about 8 minutes over the new 60s. But that's also part of when it happens matters. Because if they rip them up and then right on the 60 flip, just go red and dump them. Versus if it breaks right at the open of the 60, you have the full hour to get long green bars going. But let's see. They're still selling healthcares, which we pointed that out below yesterday's lows. They're still selling, and you can see it's almost full time frame continuity. The materials are still up there. They're still selling off the Utes. We saw that inside 15 breakdown in the Utes with those 60s down, so they're selling a little bit of that. Staples selling a little bit of that as well. So we'd prefer to see those semis go outside. It's just all those dojis. They're still in play. They haven't really changed that. TFO plot. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest that you need this. I would notice how I still have the 4 timeframes up. And the reason that's important that you have the 4 is because whenever we look at any asset, we want to at least have the 4 timeframes, if not all of them. Because that way we can know, you can see the magnitudes, where would be the next targets. All of these targets are coming from bigger timeframes. It's like the weekly, monthly targets. You're not going to see that unless you have the month and week open. Or unless you already annotated the chart and you know what those big time frames look like in your head. Plus those time frames, those big ones, give you, how long that's going to last. The only way out of this is up. Yeah. Good one, Sarah. So if you look at the NASDAQ, see this broadening formation right there? That is the real breakout. Notice every time it broke into these highs before, it was giving back the gains. So if we look at how those broadening lines persisted through it, you can see it started back in here, tests the highs to the penny, comes down here, tests the lows with the news, then it comes back into the middle, tests the lows, comes to test the highs, slight higher highs, then it makes the higher low inside 15, break, and then here, this is now actually breaking out of the broadening formation. It's broadening. So when you look up and left, you have those targets to hopefully speed them up, and we call this back ender. In the morning session, when you kind of chop them up or triangle broadening formation, triangle them out, and then you expand that broadening formation in the afternoon, that's how a back ender would happen. You have the weekly, you have the daily, you have the intraday groups all agreeing against the monthly group during an inside month. So you got the rest of the day, you got about 600 points higher that could go. In the NASDAQ, since we have these dojis, you just want to be aware of it, but if they can stay above that, that's going to try and change those dojis. Healthcares are going to low a day, so they're rotating out of healthcares into the tech. Utilities on the 60s down. You see they're rotating out of the utilities into the tech. So as we come into the last 5 minutes of the 60, woo, there's a lot of breaks there. But you can see simultaneous setups now. There's a lot of inside bars happening in... Wow, there's a lot of them coming through. So you can see, look at this. Simultaneous inside sectors. And since there's so many, what I'm going to do is go to simultaneous setup. So look at this. Intraday, inside, 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 inside. Why does that matter? This matters because you cannot have a 2 without, or you cannot not go 2 once you have a 1. So when we look at this, once you have a 1, it may go 1 for multiple bars, but eventually it's got to become a 2 and break. And if it becomes a 2, it might become a 3. So if we know there's 1s, we know a 2 is coming. And that matters because what if there's a 2 coming across the whole market? That'd be good to know about. And what if they all go in the same direction? Well, that would be really good to know about too. So that's something we can pick up on. We got everything going inside here. And to make that simple, what we do is we can just go and look at the ETFs here. We can look for inside 60s. It does look like we're having some data issues in here. And you can see for some reason the Dow Jones stuff is showing up in the sectors. I'm not sure why. I have to fix that. But maybe I'll just go like this. SPY QQD. And it's not gonna let me. Gosh, I'm kind of annoyed with how the Dow Jones got leaked out into other stuff. But uraniums, so URA, DFEN, XHB, jets, airlines, genomics, solars, financials, materials, space, drones, biotechs, discretionary, staples, energies, Bitcoin mining, across the board. So in the next flip, it's going to matter. And what we say is it will either confirm or negate. So if you're looking at the semis, you're like, wow, they're buying the semis now. It's like, okay, all those inside bars will either confirm that buying or negate it. So if all of those break up, guess what? Semis should go flying, right? You should get that outside day real fast. And maybe it goes further back through these guys, since we're still not an outside week either. If we go to MU, remember the broadening formation we pointed out here? Inside 15, bang, other way. So you stop out anyone long, go inside. The second that breaks, all the buyers getting back into this stuff. Q's still breaking out. And if we go to Meta, not so much, but it is firm. Microsoft, not so much. So it's really your MU, your SNDK, your NVIDIA, the stuff we saw was a little firmer at the second 30 of the day this morning. They're still selling healthcare as they come into target 1 on the day. So you can see beam, so that's in your genomics, and we go by sector. No, we got like this. Let's go percent move. So you can see there's still a good bit of conflict here, but they're selling energies, utilities, communications. They're selling healthcares, more energies, some staples, some financials, and they're going into drones, solar, biotech, space, semis, uraniums. So as we come to the flip, we got about a minute here. You see that utility rotation out, almost going to cause full time frame continuity down. So let's just watch and see what happens, right? When utilities goes 2 down and continues in 10 seconds and it changes that level, does it cause everyone to start getting out of that at the same time? MU is just about to make a new high of day, so notice your broadening formation gauging magnitude. High of day gets reclaimed, go to low of day. Low of day gets reclaimed, back to high of day. And since we have the flip, it's called the flip for a reason, right? Do they flip what they're doing or do they confirm what they're doing? That is the major question. For now, Qs, tech, semis, they all are very firm. They're nowhere near reversing, so how are they going to reverse if they're nowhere near doing it? Staples inside 60 down confirms utilities. So utilities is a defensive sector. If they're selling that, it's going down. When Staples breaks, it confirms that they're selling defensive stuff. And you'll see the broadening formation in Staples. Makes the highs. Reverses here. Where's it trying to go? Technically back to the lows, right? And if that happens, that would cause full time frame continuity. So that could, if that really kicks in, you'd go outside week in here. That'd be pretty interesting. And that'd probably help in semis and tech to really get moving, because when they move out of defensive posturing, like healthcares and staples and utes, they tend to move into tech and semis. So we want to see if they can do that. We can see on the flip, MU, you had the nice move back to the highs, but then right on the flip, profit taking. So it's not reversal, but it is profit taking based on that continuity level changing. Myrna still full time from continuity down, having some issues. So far on the flip, SPY goes 225ers back up. Semis, tech, inside fivers. So they're not changing anything, they're just setting up. So if you look in here, drones, space, biotechs, got the most twos to the upside. To the downside, you get discretionary staples, home builders, energies. Not too much. See down IWM. Yeah, look at these guys doing jack nothing. Double inside 60. So you can see double insides. These are inside bars that could break. Dow, IWM, Genomics, Defense, Hack ETF, OIH, TAN, Uraniums, Materials, Communications, Financials. This shows you nothing is going on, right? And then these would be cues by bots. Like we don't like seeing this. we want to see things that are too. So when we look in here, there's like slight up, slight down, but there's nothing we can really say yet. And you can see how every hour things reset, right? They went from semis, if we were on the previous 15, they went from semis for 30 minutes. They had 2 up, 15. Now they're in drones, Bitcoiners, ARCX. So we look at drones, for example. These are all 2s up. Go to the Bitcoiners. See all 2s up in here. APLD taking the morning highs out. Or actually, is it the morning highs? No, it is not. And this is on a 15 basis, but the drones ETF, you can actually see it on a 60 basis. So this is where AVAV, 60 hammer up, ONDS, 60 hammer up, RCAT, SWMR, Palantir is technically in there. So there's a little bit. How much evidence do you have? Well, these are all red on the day. SWMR is an outside day. On the week, they're all pretty red on the week. Besides maybe Palantir, it's a doji. It's like, eh. So for 60 minutes, there's evidence. There's some stuff going on here, but that's it. If you look at space stuff, it's be pretty similar. IRDM, lunar sats for 60 minutes. They have this, some evidence, but if we look at the weeklies, they're nowhere near coming back on those guys. The dailies, they're just all so, like, you have to squint to see what's going on. Dojis, right? They're just not doing too much. If you look at the 60s down, staples, it's a little different. You can see it's pretty conflicted today. So there's some buying, some selling going on. PM, MO, a little bit weaker with TSM. If you go on the week, most of them are red on the week. So when that 60 kicks in, these are all the 60s breaking right now. Oops. When the 60 breaks kick in force, technically it's that weekly seller coming back to sell staples. So you have a little bit more evidence there. We can see all the energies are also still confirming XLE and XOP. And like we said, when that news came out, once we saw them selling those energies, pretty much told you that whatever they thought about that news being bad, not bad at all. And you see XOP coming back through this range of all these guys still. So they're just puking them out. NVIDIA is still sitting right at the highs. It's one of the few semis that has long green bars, right? It's really all we see in the semis actually like going. SNDK made another high. That was about it. The fake news. You can see Riot, Wolf, Iren, Cores, APLD in the latter half of the day. A lot of these are breaking. So there's a chunk of buy orders going there, and it tells me we should take a look at crypto quick. Sorry about that if you heard that. But if we take a look at crypto intraday, you can see today 18 names enforced to the upside. So you got more twos up than down. Intraday, right? There's a lot more going down. So it's not like a crypto rally in here. You can see most of these names. We got two here. Most of these names, reversals down right now, actually. All of these, 2 up, 2 down reversal. And some 3 twos and whatnot. So it's just the data center trade, what it looks like. And it's just short covering. Month red, week red, day is 2 down, still red. So that 60 hammer you can see, it was across the board, just slight short covering. Still nothing really to write home about here. Semis did make another high a day, so they confirm 2 up, 2 up, 2 up on the 60s. Still just grinding their way through. Tesla still grinding its way up. It's setting up an inside week for next week, so maybe that helps things out. Next week, I did see your question. Sorry, I didn't answer it. But any advantage to using different US 500, ES, ES1? No. Nope. If there was an advantage, everyone would use the same one. It really doesn't matter. I use US 500 just because it's real time data. It's free. Same with the US 30, GOLD. Like instead of using GC, which I think I do have real time data right now, actually on this. But if you're not trading futures, you shouldn't pay for the data. It doesn't make sense. Just use the CFDs, you know? So right now, you know, people, you might be tempted to do something, but Qs, if you're trying to trade the Qs, the inside up, 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 still going, right? It's going sideways, but it's not going down. So you got the weekly guy, you got the daily guy, you got intraday guys in here. So if it's going sideways, let them try and go sideways and then go up. Aside of that, man, there's just not. It's just like they're drying up. There is not much going on. I didn't get time to look at the gappers this morning, so we'll take a quick peek at that. Right. Oh, I'm stupid. It's right here. I'm not stupid, but blind a little bit. Gappers. Doesn't look like we picked up on any kickers today. See, coin had the gap them up, sell them down. Nice. MicroStrategy. Gap them up, sell them down as well. Meta. We call that gap and sit. Mother bar issues stuck. Quadruple U in the uraniums. Pretty nice move off the T2 day, but gap up and some profit taking. See gap up sell, so it's like most of these gaps up got sold. See the gaps down. LRCX, gap down buy. And you can see it's just because of all these inside months, right? STX, gap down, they buy it up. Just keep going down the list, right? MPWR, gap them down, buy them up. Boring, 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 right? And then MU, it's like back and forth. So they're really just like, wow, even the gap list is dead today. Goodness. Let's see what the buy list this week looks like. These guys do anything? Nope, not here. Even the buy list flat. HPE, pretty much nothing. Net, nothing. Wow, they did not do much. They did not do much today. So you can see NVIDIA, which was on our nightly vid. That's pretty much top of the list, right? That's the biggest mover you got today. And I recall in the morning, that was the one where we can at least discern that NVIDIA is strong compared to everything else. It's one of the few things we can see. See BBY, it's also gone in today. T-Mobile from the nightly vid, they got what they wanted to, which was pretty nice. Rost was supposed to be in my weekend vid, which didn't get posted, sadly. But they're up a little bit today as well. So you can see it's like there's not much. We go to the daily buy list. NVIDIA, Tesla, it's like Mosaic Company, MOS. Ah, that was a nice one on the 30 there for 20 cents. But you can see the biggest ones are going to be what we talked about. T2 reversal. So if we look at the day, you got the daily reversal in force, and we got bigger time frame targets to go after, 2 going through week. And notice it's back through a broadening formation, all these guys. Second leader today. NVIDIA, right? Inside day, full time frame continuity back through the broadening formation. If we go to CAR, inside day signal, back through a broadening formation. Now, it didn't have full time frame continuity, but the day and 60 minute, they overrode the week. If we go to the week, it's probably, I believe this is right here. This is the weekly open, so it's actually about to change it. Forward, there's continuation back through a range though. JCI, yeah, and you see it's starting to dry up, not too much. Like the quarterly buy list, there's like nothing. Yearly buy list, I don't even think this is correct, but Biggest gainer I have on my scans are like 3% on the day. So that's not a good trading day. Let's see what our bigger scanners got. Yeah, even here. Let's see. You can see some of the Whirlpool, and then a lot of leverage ETFs. S&DK is up 7%. VSAT. See, that was just 2 going 3 day. Pretty mid, but there is definitely a little bit more. CGAL up a couple bucks, or GGAL. STX. Yeah. Doesn't look like we missed out on much. We go to SPY. You can see that the slight tick down, boom, right back into full time frame continuity. So if you look at the oneers, you can see they buy, they get stopped out, inside bar, they buy again. They do that 10 times in a row. Call that doing battle against the guys whoever's got limit orders up there. Semi's still at the highs with the Qs. Tech still just sitting at the highs. Staples did 15 hammers, so they're 2 going 360 now. So they firm the staples up a little bit. They firm up utilities a little bit. Yeah. Way to go, Robert. Robert, I love hearing you win. I want you to win so bad. You see Robert stopped out twice for break even, kept battling for a winning position, and this is off of the 15-minute. What I would suggest, though, is I'd move that stop up. I would just go break even at that point. Is either that's going to hold, this broadening formation breaking out, and we got this nice ripper, or it doesn't. You might get this back ender where they go like this, go back through the other way. So I just make sure you don't give it all back, but very nice. You can see staples and utes firm up a little bit. Materials is still at high day, so if you're setting up for next week, materials is looking decent. But man, really boring stuff today. Beam was a pretty good one. Yesterday in the nightly video, we said that could be through all this stuff in like 30 minutes. It actually did it in 15 minutes this morning. That's wild stuff, right? But I want to get outside. I want to get done with the week here. So what we'll say is just semi's still good. If you're trading off that 15 simultaneous break, slow, right? Really slow. It's up 0.6%, but at least it's going up, right? NVIDIA, they're still kind of grinding it up as well. So, I would just say mind the flip as we get into the latter half of the day, because every 60 matters when things are slow like this. From 160 to the next, kind of like what we saw in the morning on that second 60 of the day SPY. Right when that opened, 2 minutes later, wham, right? It takes everyone out, and then it comes back the other way. So just want to be aware of those 60 flips, but at this point, full time frame continuity up, we would expect, if that condition stays true, we'd expect prices to go higher, keep going higher into the close. We would expect QQQ, if that stays true above yesterday's highs, we'd expect it could be up 5 points as we get to the close. So we have these 60 hammers right here. That lasts 40 minutes. So if Qs is above that, you got 40 minutes to try and get this week a little greener, try and change that monthly open, and come back through these guys. So we call it back ender. I'm not going to say the market's not moving, but if you're going to let them grind up into the end of the day, you got what you wanted. You got the 15. It caused the broadening formation to expand, and we want to just stay up there. So we'll find out as the day goes on, but thanks for tuning in. I know it was a slow day, but sometimes it'll be that way. We will see as we go into next week what's setting up in the weekend vid, and we'll discuss there. So adios, guys. Have a good rest of your week. Yeah, Sarah's like, I don't even know why I'm still here. Have a good rest of your week, though. And, you can also watch that in a video with the semis into the close. But that's all I got. Peace, everyone, and we'll see you soon.